Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, Kamala Harris kind of has a sort of announcement, and a new taxpayer-funded drug shelter is coming to a neighborhood near you. But before we get to any of that, let's talk about Governor Bob Ferguson.
Yeah, it's not my name.
All right, Turd Ferguson.
So they release a new calendar for Turd Ferguson's schedule for the week. And everybody notices on his website in the media, oh my God, this is it. This is it. Here we go. What does it say? Thursday, February 5th, 11:15 a.m. Meeting with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. He's meeting with the commissioner of the NBA. Chris Daniels must be all excited saying, oh my God, the Sonics this is it. The Sonics are coming back. Governor Bob Ferguson has it in the bag.
Ferguson.
Yeah, that's the problem was it was a giant turd. It wasn't even a meeting. We'll get to that in a second. Now, with everybody getting all excited about this, I have a few scenarios I want to present to you because I don't think this was about getting the Sonics back. Scenario number one, and you guys are going to get to vote on this, what you think. Scenario number one, that the Sonics are coming back. And this is one of those meetings, hey, when are we going to announce it? When are we going to do a thing? I think this is the least likely option. Scenario number two, the Sonics may have actually been Seattle may have been one of the cities they had selected to bring the Sonics back to. But all of a sudden, the NBA ownership got wind of a few posts about some taxes that might be coming here to Seattle. And they start getting a little nervous. And the commission's like, dudes, if you do this, then you ain't getting a basketball team. Because the owners of the NBA teams, they like to make money. And now you got a little problem. If you have a payroll tax, and we've been saying this from the beginning, the payroll tax affects anybody who's making, over $100,000, which is basically most people in Washington nowadays, if you want to live here. So now that's got to go. Okay? Now you have the payroll tax. You have the people who work in the front office. You have the people who are the management. You have the people who are the owners. Now you talk about the capital gains tax, moving a team here. Then now you're talking about an income tax? No, my friends. They probably got a little spooked. And they probably said, you know what? There's other cities that probably want us more that aren't going to do this to us. Now, there may be some backroom dealing, and I guarantee you, if they pass the income tax, and if the Sonics are announced shortly thereafter that they're still coming here, some carve-out, some exemptions, some backdoor dealing. That's scenario number two. Scenario number three, it's all a distraction. It's a, hey, can you quickly get me a meeting with the Sonics, because all anybody's talking about is this income tax thing, and we're getting letters 4-1 against it. People are registering 4-1 against it. We need to change the conversation. Quick. Can we distract it? Can we get a meeting with the Sonics or somebody? Throw it on my schedule as fast as possible. So that way people stop talking about how we want boys playing in girls' sports and we're passing an income tax and Washington's unaffordable. So which scenario do you think is the most likely? One, that they're actually talking about the Sonics coming back in a good way. Two, that the NBA and the owners are getting spooked by all the taxes they're about to pass here, including the jock tax, by the way. If a player comes from another city to play here, they have to pay for working in our city for 1 day a tax. So that's scenario number two. Or scenario number three, it's all a distraction. I want to know what you think. Give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We're going to open up the phone lines right now so that way you can call in. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Now, I have my personal favorite with this. I actually think it's a combination of 2 and 3. I don't think it's just 1, 2, or 3. I think it's actually a combination of both. Why? Because usually politicians get the news that something bad is coming before anybody else gets it. What's the big news today? Boeing is moving a whole bunch of engineers for the 787 Dreamliner project from Washington to North Carolina. 300 engineers. Now, when they say they're moving 300 engineers, that's not exactly the way it works. What happens is they say, all right, we're moving the jobs. Now, if you want to move with us to North Carolina, you person who's been in Seattle for X amount of time and your kids go to school here and your spouse works here, whatever, that's cool. But if you can't, bye-bye, sorry, and we're going to hire somebody out in North Carolina. Remember I told you that companies like Boeing were not going to leave overnight, but they were going to leave through attrition as much as they possibly could? These are high-paying engineering salaries. So now let's see, just in the last 2 weeks, what we've had happen. Microsoft had layoffs. Amazon had layoffs. Zillow had layoffs. You name it, the entire tech community is having layoffs. Then you saw at Providence Hospital, they're having layoffs too. And then you factor in on top of that, now Boeing is talking about laying people off / moving jobs.
Don't forget our layoffs.
Oh, right. Don't forget around here at Lotus Seattle. That's right too, right? So those also. You add all this in together. And what does it be like? Companies don't want to spend the money on any of the taxes. Companies say, we're out of here. We're going to spend that money somewhere else. We don't want to give our money to the Washington state government. We don't want to give the money to Bob Ferguson. Now, Chris Daniels, much as we make fun of him, there's nobody who covers whether or not the Sonics are coming back better than him. He wrote this. Hey, folks, for what it's worth, Washington's Governor Bob Ferguson talked on the phone with Adam Silver today and offered to help bring back the Sonics in some capacity.
Turd Ferguson.
Exactly. This is a giant turd of a meeting. It was not a meeting as first described. Wait, who described that? It wasn't me. It's Bob Ferguson's website. It's
Turd Ferguson.
Exactly him. It's his own website. Ferguson's office called it a good conversation. So that means nothing's happening. You know how we know officially nothing's happening? Because if something real was happening, Chris Daniels would be running all over the place. Hey, we need to put an article up on Como News right now that says, are the Sonics coming back? Does the meeting with the governor mean the Sonics are coming back? Clickbait as soon as possible. Look, if the Sonics are coming back, it's going to be Chris Daniels who breaks that story. And if it's not him, he's going to cry into his Fruit Loops. I guarantee you that. That's what's going to happen. If I break, oh my God, Kevin, can you imagine that? If we get the inside track and it's somebody like me who breaks that story and not Chris Daniels, that guy will probably never speak to me ever again. Not that he's ever spoken to me before.
Maybe you just do a favor and just give it to him.
Maybe
you know
just to be nice.
Okay,
hey, dude, you're going to owe me one because I'm going to give you the Sonics. No way, man.
I can't do this to you. Here you go.
Yeah, I just can't. No, I'll put a little thing in it. Thank you to Chris Daniels for all your help. Chris Daniels contributed to this report. That's what we'll do if the Sonics actually come back. We'll give him like that little Associated Press thing at the bottom there, right on KVI.com. You know what? I actually have some connections with the NBA. I think it's time for me to make some phone calls. You know that David Stern was at my bar mitzvah? Do you guys not know this story? I know I haven't told it because everybody here in Seattle hates David Stern because they blame him for moving the Sonics. David Stern was at my bar mitzvah. Let me tell you this one. This is a little bit of a good story. The brief version of this is my father used to do a lot of legal work for the NBA. And one of the things he did was help move the Utah Jazz from New Orleans to Utah. And there became a time where he was kind of, sort of not new. He was offered a job being their head lawyer. So what's funny is apparently, as the story is told in Hoffman lore, David Stern is walking down the hallway and said, hey, to my father. He says, hey, are you happy with your job? And my father knows that David Stern is friends with his boss. So he goes, yeah, love my job. It's great. It's fantastic. And David Stern says, okay, no problem. Walks a few doors down. Hey, Gary Bettman, do you like your job? No, I hate my job. What do you got, David? Well, I got this NBA chief counsel job. Oh, really? Hey, what did Gary Bettman end up becoming? That's right. Isn't he the commissioner of the NHL right now because they just hire lawyers for these jobs? That's right. You heard it here first. Could have been my dad. Did my dad do to New Orleans what David Stern and crew did to the Sonics? Yeah, kind of. A little bit. But anyway, that's the way the story goes. My father always used this to tell us, never tell a lie. Even if it costs you, never tell a lie, because otherwise I could have had that job. That's how the lore goes in the Hoffman family. But my father and David Stern were still close, and stuff would still come to our house once a year. We would get all the media guides at our house, and one year there were cigarette lighters in the box, right? And my mother asked, I think it was my father asked David Stern and said, why are you sending us cigarette lighters that are, branded with the NBA stuff on them? And he said, Shabbos candle lighters. That's what they're for. But yes, David Stern was at my bar mitzvah. In fact, he was not the only celebrity guest at my bar mitzvah. You want to know who the other one was?
Kanye?
No, not Kanye.
Oh,
Not Kanye. Am I older than him? Am I younger than him? I don't even know. Not Kanye.
I think you're probably around the same age.
The same age. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. No, Kanye was not at my bar mitzvah. Geraldine Ferraro was at my bar mitzvah. That's right. First woman to run for vice president of the United States, Democrat, who I believe is one of those Democrats who would probably be more Republican these days. Yes, Geraldine Ferraro was at my bar mitzvah. Okay.
Nicki Minaj?
Nicki Minaj was not at my bar mitzvah. I don't even think she was living in the country at that time. And if so, we definitely wouldn't recognize her. She's had some work done, you might have noticed. Anywho, getting back to the thing at hand. So are the Sonics coming back? If they pass these taxes, that makes it less and less likely that the Sonics are coming back. But then you add on a few other things. We already talked about the payroll tax. You already talked about the income tax. There is a new crazy proposal by socialist/communist Sean Scott, who Seattle elected to represent them in the Washington state legislature. According to Fox 13, a Washington state lawmaker is proposing to shorten the standard work week from 40 hours to 32 hours for many workers across the state, including those in the private sector. House Bill 2611 is sponsored by Representative Sean Scott, a Democratic socialist from Seattle, and the proposal would affect both salary and hourly workers. He wants to redefine full-time work to 32 hours while maintaining pay and benefits, forcing employers to pay overtime if hours go beyond 32 hours. For those of you doing the math in your heads right now, that means a 4-day work week. Oh, that sounds great. Get Fridays off, right? Well, there's one little problem if you do that. Boeing, for example, still has to deliver its airplanes on time to its customers and now has lost a day and now has to pay overtime for the product they were making anyway. You have now made it more expensive to make that product. Microsoft employees, they have to deliver the next version of Windows by such and such a date. Now you have to pay overtime for them to finish it. Do you now understand how this can affect every single sector? So now you're going to have it if somebody's working on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's overtime. By the way, the whole system is screwed up with this. If your schedule is I work Thursday to Tuesday, you shouldn't get overtime for Saturday and Sunday. Sorry if you're mad at me about that. I truly believe you shouldn't. That's your work week. You get whatever it is. You get like Wednesday and Thursday off instead. Whatever the case may be. What Sean Scott wants to do is make it more expensive to do business. What is this going to lead to? It's going to lead to one of two things. Bigger companies are going to say, screw you, and get out of Washington. Smaller companies are going to say, because we can't afford the overtime, we're going to be open less often, and we're going to lay people off. That's what's going to happen as a result of this. Plus, there's also some people who are workaholics like me. I like working. I like being here. I like working at night. That's why you see me posting on social media at like 1 a.m. That's why Kevin the other day is telling me about an email I sent. It says, you sent this email at 1 a.m. And I said, yes, that tracks. That was definitely me who sent the email at 1 a.m. because nobody else is up that early at 1 a.m. Yes, it's always me doing that. But if you have less hours, you're less productive, you're making less stuff, and now people are restricted by that. They're not going to bring jobs here to Washington. So, my friends, we need your help. We need your help to stop all this. And here's how you stop it. You need to call the Washington State Legislature, and you need to say no to all of this. Now, the last time we checked, the no's, the cons, were outweighing the pros or the yeses on the income tax 4-1. 4-1. So you need to call 1-800. You need to call 562-6000. 1-800-562-6000. I almost started giving our phone number here. 1-800-562-6000. That's the Washington State Legislature hotline. You need to say no to the income tax. If you don't remember the bill number, which is Senate Bill 6346. Senate Bill 6346, 1-800-562-6000. The other thing you need to do is you need to call them up while you're on the phone with them and say no to House Bill 2611. That's 2611, the 32-hour work week. If you don't remember the numbers, you just say which one you're talking about, they'll know. Now, you can do this through the Washington State website, too, which is leg.wa.gov. You just type in the bill you're looking for. You will find it. You register as con. You register as no to all of these. You have to do it. I want this ratio on the income tax to be up to 10 to 1, 20 to 1, 30 to 1. I want it as high as it can be. I think the last record they set was on one of the initiative ones, and it came out, I think they had it at 40,000 versus like 10,000. Guys, we have to beat this. If you don't want an income tax here in Washington State, you need to show that all of this is a bad idea and what's going to happen. Now, mind you, I got this text from the 206. This is a good question. Asking about the work week. So is this going to apply to agriculture? 4-day growing, watering, and harvesting? Who knows? They may make you do that. This one here from John in Lakewood. The Sonics are not coming back. Too many better places to go, including Canada, Mexico, South America, and Europe. Okay, I don't think they're flying anybody to play in Europe. I don't think that's happening. Look, they've tried to make inroads with China. We're not opening basketball teams there anytime soon. This one here from John in Auburn. He says, Ari, nothing good ever comes out of Ferguson's mouth. Silence is better. Oh, you haven't seen the video he posted today? I think I'll have the clip for you tomorrow. Today, him and the governor of Massachusetts made a bet over the Super Bowl. I think it was the governor of Massachusetts. Yeah. They made a bet over the Super Bowl. And neither of these people know how to make bets. They're talking about, well, if we win, we're going to send you something. That's not how a bet works. If I make a bet with Mr. KVI, then the bet is if you lose, you owe me money. Democrats love giving out things. Oh, I'm going to buy all this stuff and send it to you as a ha, 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 ha. Only Democrats. If there were discovered life on Mars, they would start sending them aid. That's what they would do. They're calling this thing a millionaire's tax. It is not a millionaire's tax. It's literally going to hit every single one of you. And in fact, at 4:30 today, Carleen Johnson for the Center Square, she's going to be joining us because she asked the Democrat legislature, she asked the legislative leaders right to their faces, what's to stop this from hitting everybody else? And they didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to mention about it. Didn't want to talk about it at all. Oh, no, that's no. We'll tell you exactly what happened. That's at 4:30 today. You don't want to miss it. But when we come back right now, my friends, more of your calls, more of your texts. Plus, a new taxpayer-funded drug encampment is going to be opening up in Seattle. Is it going to be near your house? We'll tell you when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder for everybody, we got the State of the Union coming up, which means that we are bringing back our Stake of the Union event. That's right, my friends. On February 24th, out at Daniel's Broiler, you get to watch a live broadcast of the Ari Hoffman Show. Plus, at the same time, you get to enjoy a delicious Daniel's Broiler dinner and get to hang out with all of us here at KVI. It's going to be a lot of fun, but seating is limited and tickets are going fast. So you need to sign up ASAP because we only have 100 spots. I think about half of them are already gone. So head on over to KVI.com. That's KVI.com. You're going to see Stake of the Union right up there. Make sure you sign up right away. You can't come in the last minute and go, oh, I forgot my tickets, because we're not going to have any seats left. Go to KVI.com, register right now. Now, I'm looking over at the text line, and you guys have a lot of opinions on my theories. So some of you are actually saying all of the above, that with regards to the Sonics, it's a distraction, and the NBA doesn't want to come, and Bob Ferguson's trying to save face. You name it, it's all of them. I'll give you a fourth one I just thought of. Kevin, I can't believe I didn't think about this one. Do you remember that the Seahawks and the Mariners and Boeing and Microsoft and Amazon and all these companies sent a formal letter to the Washington legislature last year saying, don't pass these taxes or else we're going to start leaving? I wonder if they got a letter from the Sonics that said, if you pass these taxes, because what's the point of anybody else sending a letter? Anybody else sends that letter, they already said no to that, and they already passed the taxes. Can you imagine if the Sonics actually sent a letter like that and said, you were under consideration, and now you're not getting a team if you pass these taxes, something like that? I just filed a public disclosure request so I can actually see if they got a letter like that. I bet you, magically, I'm not going to get until the end of the legislative session, don't you think? Can you imagine if Bob Ferguson cost us the Sonics and we get, oh my God, this is how I beat Chris Daniels to the story. File a public disclosure request, and then I find out about it.
I love that you're working out this fan fiction all in your mind, but yet on the air live.
Yeah, because everybody in their car is doing the same thing. They're going, wait a minute, did Turd Ferguson just cost us the Sonics? Dude, if he cost us the Sonics, forget Mayor Snow Shovel. That guy lost an election because he couldn't plow the roads. If Bob Ferguson cost us exactly the Sonics, oh, man, just imagine that. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Chris in Body Lake. Chris, what's up, man?
Hey, buddy. So I want you to tell me all of the bills in our wonderful legislature that got reversed or stopped because we called.
Last year we stopped like 5 or 6 of them, dude. I mean, if you're saying it's a waste of time, I completely disagree with you. For example, all the things about changing sentencing for felons, we stopped all that last year. I don't remember off the top of my head 4 or 5 of them. We already stopped this year before the session even started. Lisa Wellman's bill was so unpopular, the one that wanted to hide all the information about daycares because it went mega viral across the country and she got so many angry letters, it didn't even make it to committee.
So here's my list. Let's see, the tabs, the parental rights bill, on and on and on. You call them and we're 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, and they just give you the middle finger and pass it anyway.
I'm not disagreeing with you that happens, Chris, but basically what you have to show them is that there are consequences to this. Last time, you bring up the parental rights. The reason they passed it last time was because they said, we don't want to deal with this at the ballot box. Then this time they're not having a hearing on it because then they have to be on record about it. And so all of them can go to their districts and say, what do you mean? I voted for it. Now it's time to let the voters decide. And what people need to do is show up at their town halls and ask them why they wouldn't give a hearing on parental rights and why they voted to change it the first time. Chris, I'm not going to tell you they listen every single time, but what you need to do is make it 100-1, 300-1, 400-1, where they worry about getting reelected.
So,
and
Ari,
that has happened.
You know how we can fix
That has happened with some of the ones, like, for example, with the prolific offenders. By the way, this is also how we got police pursuits reinstituted. We have had successes.
We can fix everything.
Yes.
Ari, we can fix everything if the bloody Republicans in this state would get off of their big fat you-know-whats and vote.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you. How many voters have you registered, Chris?
All of my friends I've registered. All my friends are registered.
Excellent. How many more people are you going to go register this weekend?
I'm not sure if I'm going to register any this weekend.
Okay, so here's what we got to do. How many people did you collect signatures for? How many of the ballots and the initiatives did you collect signatures for?
Every ballot, I collect signatures on all of the ballots. And
Wonderful.
I sign all of the ballots.
Now, everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice and my friend Chris in Bonnie Lake has to do the exact same thing, or we will keep losing. God bless you, Chris. Appreciate you being part of the show.
Buddy.
You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. This one here, Rob in Lakewood. Okay, Rob, Stake of the Union, we are not having vegan food. That is not happening. I don't know why you are suggesting that. First of all, I run barbecue competitions at our synagogue, and one year a lady called me. And she said, will there be a vegan option, a vegetarian option? And I said, absolutely. There will be lettuce and tomato for your hamburger. I said that. And she said, well, then I'm not coming. I go, the event's not for you then. I got a different question. How come anytime you go to a vegetarian restaurant, they don't have a meat option? I think that's discriminatory. If you expect me to have a vegetarian option at our meat fest, then you know what? You should have a meat option at your veggie event. Yeah, no, we're not having a vegan option at Stake of the Union. I know you're just kidding, Rob. But no, we are not having a veggie option. Kevin, we don't do that, right?
I don't know if they offer field roasts there.
Or soy products
beyond,
at the Daniel's Broiler.
Beyond steak bites.
Oh, wait. I do know something that's vegan. There's alcohol. That's vegan. There you go. You want a vegan option? There you go. There is alcohol. Ari, perhaps the NBA may not go to Europe, but many Canadian and Mexican locations are no farther than a coast-to-coast domestic flight to meet the NBA's desire to internationalize the league. John in Lakewood says that. Yeah, John, I think you're 100% right. I think you are 100% correct that they might be considering Canada as well. But then again, Canada's tax system is that's a whole nother thing there. Yeah, I completely agree with you. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Ron in Tacoma. Ron, what's up?
Well, I'm very perplexed here. I'm noticing that Nick Shirley did a posting here within the last 20 minutes, and this is what it says. It says, breaking. Cast members of The View are mentioned in the Epstein files. Whoopi Goldberg 21 times, Elisa Farah Griffin 20 times, Joy Behar 3, and Anna Navarro 2. I thought being on the list was bad.
So now you know why the Democrats aren't talking about it anymore. But can we be real about the Epstein files for a second? There's a lot of people mentioned. Russell Wilson was in the Epstein files. Russell Wilson was mentioned because they were talking about selling a plane to Russell Wilson. According to Russell Wilson, he had no idea that the plane he was looking at buying was even coming from Jeffrey Epstein, and it was something that was going between a broker. And this is what I said about the Epstein files at the beginning. Now that they have been so, not notarized, that's the wrong word. Now that they are so notorious, that now, if your name is in them, you have to exonerate yourself. And it seems to me from the files I've read so far, Ron, tell me if you think about this or not. It seemed like Jeffrey Epstein talked a lot of you-know-what about a lot of people and was actually trying to talk about how he wanted to do this and wanted to do that, but couldn't actually do it. I'm not defending the ladies on The View because they're the ones who tried to demonize Donald Trump for that. But now we're looking at, did he actually know them? Was he just throwing names out? What was the case? What do you think, Ron? Then I got to go.
Yeah, I think that's probably a lot of it. It seems to me, to be honest about the whole thing, just because I don't understand, just because someone mentions someone's name or something that somehow it's bad. It's just something the Democrats created, but they need to go ahead and step in their own trap.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we should continue to call them out for it. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Matt, he's one of our biggest fans. He's detracting me over here on the text line. Ari, it's cute that you think the decision hasn't already been made about the income tax. We should definitely try, but it's already been decided. I'm not disagreeing with you, Matt, but here's the thing. If we melt the phone lines, and if we flood their emails, and actually I heard the system was crashing. The last time I checked in, I heard the system was actually crashing. What they're going to do is go, holy cow, what have we done? What have we done? And then you make them know it at the ballot box. And the other thing you get to say is you just gave a talking point to the Republicans. you were getting 10 to 1, 20 to 1, 100 to 1 against, and you went with this thing anyway, and you just put up a picture of all of them. These are all the people who voted for the income tax, and you hold it over them for the next election. When we come back, my friends, more of your calls, more of your texts, plus also, I promised you I'd tell you where that homeless shelter is coming here in Seattle, or I should say the taxpayer-funded drug encampment. Tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. I have to make a correction. I have to redeem Rob's honor. Rob was joking and said, are you going to have vegan options for the libs, not for us? I'm sorry that I smeared your name, Rob, I'm sorry. That is my bad. Made it for good content, though. Yes, I don't think that many libs are going to be coming to our State of the Union event. First of all, there's no vegan options. Second of all, they have Trump derangement syndrome. I don't think they want to watch 90 minutes of President Trump being awesome, because I think the best President Trump you get, and I wish he was this guy all the time, is the one you get at the State of the Union. So I don't think a lot of them are coming. In fact, hang on. Let's go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, talk to our resident lib, our frenemy Bennett the protester. Bennett, are you coming to State of the Union?
Oh, I'll come. Put me up on stage. We can have at it for 30 minutes. They're expecting you to tear me apart like a kosher steak. Well, let's give them what they want.
Bennett, I'll tell you what. If you sign up for State of the Union, I will for sure take questions from the audience at some point, and for sure make sure to see you there. Just no signs at Daniels, okay? Don't bring that in. I want to see you in a jacket. I want to see you wearing a jacket, okay?
Well, $145 plus the cost of the outfit. I can bust your chops for free on the radio, so I don't know if that's the best sell.
What's on your mind today, man?
Well, I realized I'm going for the full house with Royal Flusher. This is the fourth day in a row that I called over, so I can fill out the whole card. Well, I do have to remember tomorrow. You leave it whatever.
On topic, Bennett. On topic. Okay. Stick to the topic. What do you want to talk about today?
Real question. Can Jews ride in a car after sundown that's driven by somebody else?
That depends who you ask. I hold no.
Okay, business idea. We can call it Juber, where you literally paid somebody who can give you a ride, but you have to pay.
Oh my God, okay. Bennett! I'm tweeting that out. I am tweeting that out, Juber. Oh my God, that's so good. I'm writing that down. That is excellent. All right, you didn't call about that. You called about taxes. What's up, man?
All right, so a little misinformation that I wanted to correct. We had Jim Walsh on the show, and he was talking about the proposed millionaire's income tax, and he said it's 9.9% of whatever your household income is. Now, do you know the details of the proposal?
Yes. So it's
okay. You understand that that's not correct.
It's
right?
not exactly
9.9 of anything.
I understand what you're saying, but here, Bennett, let's be real about this. Do you agree with anything I said about what this is going to do to corporate Washington?
Well, I mean, let's remind people what it actually says. It's 9.9% of whatever you make over $1 million per year. So if you make 1.1 million,
but hang on a second, Bennett.
Your tax is going to be 10,000.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with you. Nobody's disagreeing with you, Bennett. Okay, we are all agreeing with you. But do you think this opens the door for them to expand it the way they expanded capital gains and any other tax in the state?
Well, here's the thing about saying, oh, if you dip your toe in just a little bit. I mean, if somebody in the future wants to pass a broader income tax, they either will or will not have the votes and the public support to do that. Whether they do or not, they're not going to be bound by whatever they decide.
No. So here's where I disagree with you, Bennett. Just like with the school levies or anything else, once it's already in place, it's a lot easier to expand. And they have made no mistake about it. In fact, Larry Springer, who's in the legislature right now, said they plan on doing it. It's not even a hypothetical that they do plan on doing it, which is why this thing is so dangerous. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the humor, though. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757.
Just a little bit of clarification here. I am at Daniel's website, and they do have a plant-based section.
They do.
Here's the options. Now, I don't know if they would be options as part of our special event.
Yes.
I doubt it. Mixed green salad, Beyond Burger.
Yes.
Penne bolognese with soy protein.
Okay.
Cheese ravioli with almond ricotta.
Yes.
And sorbet. Those are your options.
Sounds lovely. And the alcohol. Sounds lovely. Sounds wonderful. Not the reason I think this audience goes to Daniel's Broiler, though. We'll have to read the other offerings. In fact, now I'm going to have to pull out the menu so people don't think that's what we're serving at Steak of the Union. That's right, my friends. New York steaks. Anyway, I promised you this, and I'm running out of time, so I want to make sure to get you this. New housing options are coming for homeless people in Seattle, according to Como News, as the Downtown Emergency Services Center opens its newest permanent supportive housing facility in the Woodland neighborhood. So you mean in the Woodland neighborhood, you're opening up a taxpayer-funded drug shelter? Yes, because Department of Emergency Services, Downtown Emergency Services, Have you seen what they have done to neighborhoods? You know, the most calls to 911, they're at the top of the list. We've had people get stabbed there. We've had people get shot there. We've had people overdose there. You name it, we have had problems with these places. So Woodland, sorry, guys. Clover Place at 4905 Aurora Avenue North is DESC's 19th permanent supportive housing site. Why don't you say taxpayer-funded drug den? Taxpayer-funded drug den. Can we be real about this? It will provide critical support for some of the most vulnerable people, though neighbors point to serious safety concerns tied to other DESC properties. Yes, because all of them have had serious safety concerns. In fact, our friend Peak Seattle over on Twitter has this little reminder about some incidents. Do you remember Paris Alcantara from about 4 years ago? He's a homeless tweaker who was charged with a rape at a big homeless encampment that used to be on Mercer Street by the I-5 ramp downtown. I remember that. A little over a year later, a 66-year-old woman was strangled to death at that same encampment. No one was arrested or charged. There's no word on what happened with that rape charge, but obviously he has been released because 1.5 years after the rape and just 3 months after the murder, he set that same encampment on fire. Amazingly, he was released without bail and soon chased off after a man with an axe in a park about 3 blocks away from the camp. Fast forward to today, just heard through the grapevine that apparently a short while ago, Paris somehow managed to lock one of the exterior doors to the West Precinct downtown using a cane. It sounded like they dealt with the situation. I confirmed that something like this happened on the local crime app. You can actually see it in the transcript. I went and looked it up. That's right. It was somebody with a cane trying to lock in police officers. Yes, this actually happened from another prolific offender. Woodland area? Sorry, guys. This is what the Department of Emergency Services is opening in your neighborhood. Too late to stop it. That's what's going to be there. Might be time to sell before the property values go down. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from John in Redmond. John, what's up, man?
Ari, I am really PO'd that I'm not on the list of Epstein's interrogation.
Is there a reason you should be on that list, John? Is there something you're telling us, or you just want to be more popular?
No, all the important people are on it.
Oh, I see. I am not in the Epstein files to my knowledge. I never knew Jeffrey Epstein. I never had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. However, I will tell you this. One of the schools in Israel that my son went to is actually on the list where he's talking about whether or not he should give them money. My son sent it to me today. A screenshot. He's talking about this. The school had no idea, didn't even know about this, but he's talking about whether or not he should give money to the school, which is crazy, by the way.
If the View wants to grill me, I will appear on set. I'll get a free flight to New York. I'll stop. I'll get a couple of Red Hots, a couple of Sabrettes, with red onions, mustard, and sauerkraut, and I will sit there and eat them. And maybe I will, maybe I won't answer questions.
You know what I think you should bring instead? I think this would be better off for you. Some garlic, holy water, and a cross. If you're going to the View, I think you need to bring that with you. John, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, Kamala Harris's big announcement on social media. What is the big announcement? Is she running for office? We'll tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Okay, before we get to Kamala's big announcement, I got another correction from the text line. Matt, who was talking about the income tax before, he said, for the record, I would not say that about any other topic, but a state income tax is a whole other beast. This is the Democrats' holy grail. So he's saying they're going to go pedal to the metal in pushing this thing. We need to make them eat it. We need to tell everybody who did it, who was against it, and use it to run against every single one of them. By the way, if you want to see me and Matt debate tax policy, Matt's already signed up for the State of the Union. You should sign up as well. Go to kvi.com right now, so that way you can be part of all the fun and get to have the in-person interactions with me. That's right. You can yell at me in person. I will be there. I'll be enjoying a scotch or something, but I will be there. It'll be a lot of fun for everybody. Now, Kamala Harris's Kamala HQ account. Do you know what the Kamala HQ account? Remember the Trump War Room? And you had all these other pro-Trump accounts that were keeping track of everything. Kamala HQ went active last night. And I got really, really excited. I got so excited. I said, oh, this is going to be so good. It's going to be, I get to do more deep thoughts with former Vice President Kamala Harris. The audio will be amazing. I'll be so excited. Yeah, it was clickbait and very disappointing. I was thinking, is she running for governor? She already said she's not running for governor. I'm already going through all this in my mind. I was so excited. I don't think anybody was more excited than me, possibly President Trump. But I don't think anybody was more excited than me. Kamala Harris's campaign social media account, previously known as Kamala HQ, according to the Post Millennial, has now rebranded to HQ with the social media handle headquarters_67. Possibly in a poor attempt to catch on to a social media trend among Gen Z, where many say 6'7". All right, really, guys? This was your big plan. So it's just a grift. It's just to get more people following her account. All right, Kevin, we should rebrand. We're going to rebrand my social media. It's going to say Ari Hoffman 6'7". Wait, isn't that trend like over? My kids are so over this whole thing. I don't even think they do it anymore.
Yeah, if it's made it to you or me or Kamala,
yeah,
it's done.
It's done. It's over. It's not cool anymore. It's now super lame. Yeah.
You can't grab the youth vote or inspire the youth or whatever, get them as an audience by just going, hey, they're saying this thing. Let's say that too.
Wait a second. Didn't she do Brat? It was the Brat summer of Kamala. And by then, I'm like, okay, I already know what this is, which means
it's done.
It's done.
It's done. Same. If I know it, it's done.
It's over. Like The Sopranos. Find a new show. Okay, that's what it is. So here's how bad it was. Here's how cringy it was. CNN is making fun of Kamala Harris. CNN is busting her chops over it. This is CNN.
By the way, the handle they're using, you can see there, we're zooming in on it, at headquarters_67. 67, as the kids used to say. Well, used to say a lot of things. And I think they also used to say, that's probably cringe.
Yes, exactly right. What is this nonsense? I mean, how you know you're losing the conversation when you're doing that? What was it? The social media director said, hey, wait a second, if Kamala isn't using this anymore. Hey, former Madam Vice President, do you mind if I just take the social media account and we'll just make it this thing and get clicks? And I'll give you a cut of it. No problem whatsoever. You can get a cut of all the... How many followers does this thing actually have? Hang on. Let's go to headquarters 67. How many followers does this thing actually have? 1.1 million. That's nothing to sneer at. You can make some good money off that. Just out of curiosity, rapid response, which is Trump's. Hang on. How many followers does the Trump? 1.4 million. So she's still losing by the same amount she lost the election by. Oh, no, he didn't. Yes, he did. What about the Trump War Room? Hang on a second. Trump War Room. These are the things we're doing in real time while I'm here. Where's the War Room? Here's the Trump War Room. 2.5 million. She loses. Automatically loses. How about RNC Research? That's the other one the Republicans use all the time. RNC Research, 690,000. Yeah, it hasn't been as active as it used to be. It used to be a lot more fun with that account when the Republicans were out of power, but I think it's way more fun for us having Republicans in power. Just another plug for State of the Union, my friends. Make sure you go to kvi.com right now to sign up. You don't want to miss the State of the Union with President Trump. Going to be a lot of fun. Plus, you get to see a live broadcast of the Ari Hoffman Show. You get to ask me questions. You can debate with me. Please don't yell. There are other people in the restaurant. Please don't do that. But we're going to have a great, great time. And more special guests to be announced. And, of course, it will be meat, not vegan food, as was suggested earlier, my friends. When we come back, lots more to discuss as the show continues. Kids are continuing to walk out of school campuses. And I'm kind of wondering what they hope to accomplish by walking out of these school campuses, because now polling is showing us how few Americans are actually supporting the kids walking out to protest ICE. In fact, it seems like the Americans are very, very happy that ICE is around doing its thing. So when we come back, we're going to have the latest story for you and the awesome video a KVI listener sent our way of these kids walking out near him. You're just going to laugh about this. We'll have that for you when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, Brandy Cruz and Jonathan Cho were also banned from getting press passes in Olympia. We'll tell you about what the three of us are going to do to fight back against the establishment. But before we get to any of that, my friends, a friend of mine was texting me earlier today and telling me that their kid in Seattle Public Schools, again, doesn't have school today. Why? Because the teachers and the kids keep encouraging them to walk out of class to be anti-ICE. Now, what kid isn't going to celebrate that? What kid isn't going to go, hey, we get out of class again today because the lunatics are marching. Let's go follow the green-haired people, and then we get out of class for the day. You think most of these kids actually care about this at all? Of course not.
It's just like when they'd wheel in the TV cart with the VCR.
Yes,
right?
movie day.
You'd come into the classroom. You didn't even know this was happening. Maybe the teacher's got a migraine or something, and you see the TV on a cart. It doesn't matter what you're watching.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what they're playing. Mm-hmm. You just know that you don't have to sit and listen to the teacher talk.
Exactly. You know what the best day ever was? You have a test, and you're really not ready for the test, and you got the test. And then you come into the classroom and the teacher's not there. And you're like, what's happening? What's happening? Substitute walks in, doesn't know about the test. Now, it's when the substitute walks in and they do know about the test. Now, normally you can, this was an open book test. Open book test. Oh, was it? Okay, no problem. We'll do the open book test.
Yeah, I never had a substitute do anything of substance. When they came in, it was like, silent reading today. Do you guys have anything to read?
Yeah.
No. I'm like, okay.
I can't believe how often I watch the Mighty Ducks in school. That really should not have been something you wheel into. We're going to watch the Mighty Ducks today. Who's not here today? What's going on? Who's not feeling well?
We always watched this old 70s movie called The Electric Grandmother.
The Electric? I've never heard of this film.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, and I think it was something to do with like dealing with loss, basically. So
did a lot of people die in her school? They had to bring in the electric grandmother?
Well, the electric grandmother she's like a robot, right? But like she either breaks down or goes away at the end. So it's like teaching you about loss.
Oh, I see. Be sad about the robot.
But it's like, oh, it's the electric grandmother again.
I gotcha.
This movie's great.
And unlike R2-D2, who gets fried in the Death Star battle, he's back at the end, fully fixed up. He's good to go. Not just, okay, bye, droid. You know, you were very nice, but whatever. Anywho, why do I bring this up? One of our amazing listeners sent this to me today. Ari, I was traveling from Renton towards Issaquah and noticed a lineup of kids walking on the sidewalk, assuming that these were Hazen High School students. The two signs I could read were Free Palestine and Ice Out. Now, this driver, we love you as a listener, but you're clearly in the driver's side using your cell phone. Don't do that to get footage for us. We appreciate it because you got some good audio here. Listen to what the driver said to the kids, and they rolled down their window. You hear them stop listening to the radio, and then they start yelling at the kids. Give a listen. This is great.
Have something to tell people.
Well, they're driving. They're going to roll down the window, turn off the radio.
Go back to school! Go back to school! Go back to school! Go back to school and learn something!
I love that video. It's absolutely great. Go back to school. The kids are going, yo, man, we're out. We're already out. We're already out. But also, here's the thing, and I love this KVI listener. They sent me some good stuff. I love this KVI listener, and they're probably listening right now. Here's the little problem. Who do you think taught them to do this? It's the school. Next time, I want video which somebody else is taking. I don't want you taking the video. I want the video of you yelling at them while somebody else takes the video of you yelling, go to private school, go to charter school, get out of the public schools, go somewhere else. Life is better somewhere else. That's what I want next time.
Did you notice what he was listening to?
Did not notice.
Mark Lee Van Camp and Robbins.
I was thinking it was. I was thinking it was KVI. They were listening to KVI while it was going on, which is why we left it in the clip. Because I'm like, I think there's a 90% chance that's Mark Lee Van Camp and Robbins that we're listening to. Yes, that is a KVI listener listening all day, sending it to the afternoon show host so they can play it on air. Thank you, KVI listener. We do appreciate that.
I was scared when you first sent it to me. I started watching, and I was like, this isn't going to be one of those things where the driver crashes, is it? It's the way.
No.
But
no.
thankfully,
Thank
no.
God.
Yeah.
No. At one point, they kind of dropped the cell phone a little bit. So, okay. Good recovery, though. But really, that video's, that's really it. What are you doing out of school? My friend from Seattle Public Schools who says to me, Ari, my kids are out of school again because the teachers are encouraging this and the teachers are canceling class. So unlike the teacher who used to wheel the TV into the room, now it's, I don't feel like teaching today. Let's go march against ICE. That's what's happening. And by the way, this isn't just in Seattle. This is in the entire area. I'm getting things from the Tri-Cities telling me about kids walking out of school. Do you realize the legal liability? Let me give you this one. Ready? Let's say this KVI listener who would not have done this, but let's say they dropped the cell phone, reached for the cell phone, accidentally swerve and hit the kids. Who's liable? Guess what? Everybody's liable in that case. Everybody is. Because the kids, did any of them get permission slips? Guess what? Those permission slips actually mean something. They have permission to be off campus. Did they get permission slips? Here, story for you. Kev will like this one. So here's the story. I'm taking a group of teenagers to a weekend retreat in Vancouver. And this was the last time, didn't know it was going to be the last time, but I said, everybody drive your own cars. That way I don't have to rent a bus. You just drive, and here's your permission slips, whatever. Fine. Okay, you have permission to cross the border. You all have your letters. To cross the border without your parents, you need a notarized letter. Well, actually, back then you didn't need notarized. You just need a letter from your parents. So what happens? I get a call from some kids. Ari, the Canadian Border Patrol has us. Can you come help us? They want to send us back to the U.S. and not let us into Canada. I'm like, oh, what did you idiots do? And I'm thinking they had drugs on them. I don't know what they found. What did you idiots do? And I always come last, right? My car's always last, so that way everybody gets through. So I pull over. I go in, and they're all sitting there like they're about to cry, all sitting there. And I go, what's going on? And they go, we forged the parent letters, and they caught us. I go, well, everybody forges it, but how'd you get caught? And they go, and this woman, out of nowhere, really, really tough Canadian Mountie type or whatever it is they have over there, she says, are you responsible for these children? I go, look, ma'am, they're stupid kids, but, they have permission. Their parents gave them permission to cross the border. She goes, they forged their letters. I go, ma'am, you can't prove they forged their letters. And she goes, yeah, I can. And what does she do? There's 4 kids. There are 4 pieces of the same paper that they all forged it on, probably in the back of the car, tore it into quarters. But then what does she do? She arranges them together on the table, right? Tapes them in front of me, flips it over. There's a logo on the back. This isn't a plain piece of paper. There's a logo on the back. She goes, unless all their parents were in the same room this morning using the same piece of paper, they forged these permission slips and the handwriting matches. I'm like, you idiots could even each write your own stupid letter. So that was the last time we let them do it. Kids are dumb. Kids do dumb things.
Yes, and as I've said before, we can say that because we were all kids once, and
yes,
we were all dumb.
We were all very, very dumb.
Let me guess, you were able to get them into the country, right?
I got them into the country because I said they're stupid, and here's my binder filled with, not women, my binder full of permission slips from their parents that I actually... It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But that's also the last time I let kids drive across the border, and I started renting buses, which cost me more money. Thanks a lot, Canadian Border Patrol.
Do you know when I was, just before I was 21,
yeah,
we used to go across the border. This was back in the 90s, right? Yeah. Late 90s. You know how easy it was to go across the border?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you know,
no problem at all, dude. In the late 90s, I was driving across the border. Piece of cake. No problem whatsoever. Now,
we would be driving across. It would be like 9 o'clock at night on a Friday. They'd be like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
We're just going to learn about Canada, sir.
Yeah.
No, we're going to the clubs. All right, have fun. Don't drunk drive.
Going over the border for French fries and gravy, sir.
Yeah, exactly. No, you can just flat out say, we are going to the clubs and the bars.
Yes.
Don't drink and drive. Thanks.
That's
Enjoy.
It.
Come on in.
Can't do that no more.
No.
You need notarized. You know how many parents ask me for my notary stamp? Yes, I'm actually a notary. They ask me for my notary stamp because their kids got some weekend retreat that I'm not even running anymore. I used to bring my notary stamp to parent drop-off with a stack of paper. I'd be like, here, I will notarize it for you right now, right here. Just get it done. Get it done the right way. Anywho, so what's happening here? You are responsible for these kids. Why do I tell you this long story? The schools are responsible. You know how we said something horrible could happen to one of these kids? From the Post-Millennial, the mother of a student at Fremont High School in Nebraska is blaming school officials after her child was hit by a vehicle during an anti-ICE protest held outside the school. The incident took place during a student walkout last week when a red SUV hit the student, resulting in injuries. So this one here, they say to this outlet, WOWT, I think it mostly got me in my legs because my knees is what's really bothering me right now. All I remember is seeing the red. The student's mother said the blame lied on school officials, arguing that the protest should never have been allowed to happen and that students were not adequately informed to organize a walkout. Of the organized walkout. First of all, I don't feel she's informed enough to have made a decision like the one that she's made right now during this protest. 100% correct. I don't feel that any of the young people that were involved know enough about what's going on to do or set up a protest because I don't think they even know what they are protesting. My daughter was allowed to make her poster in class, in school, in career class. Where are the teachers? Why aren't they paying more attention to what these kids were doing? She's 100% correct. Absolutely right. A friend of mine posted something over on Facebook today. I'm not going to share his name, and I'm not going to read the post directly because I don't want to give away his identity. He didn't know I was going to see it and use it on the air today. A friend of mine said his daughter was talking about running the protests. And he said, when you can explain to me what they're about, you can go to the protest, and I will even join you, even if I disagree with it. This is the way. That's how you do it. You want to protest? Explain to me what you are protesting, not you want to ditch school for the day. But there's enough kids that the Democrats go, we can indoctrinate everybody, and we can also make it look like we have more support than we actually do. Look, at this point, we all know it's the teachers' unions doing this, right? You know what we need, Kevin? We need to find out, oh my God, I should do this. We need to file a public disclosure request for the emails that our local schools got from the teachers union or got from Chris Rakedahl about these protests. For sure the union sent out talking points. For sure they sent out because so many of you have been excellent. You know what you've all been sending me? For those of you who don't have kids in the schools right now, everybody who's in this audience, you have been flooding me with the emails from the schools. And they all say the same stupid thing. It's as if they were all written by the same person. They are all copying a script. The kids walked out yesterday. We had nothing to do with it. Teachers weren't involved. Then why are the teachers involved? We keep getting these things every single day. I get at least 5 emails from 5 different schools, from 5 different parents, with almost verbatim the exact same email. These kids don't know what they're doing. Not at all. This is all done by the teachers. Yeah. Oh, I thought you had something to say.
Well, it's just, of course, the teachers don't have to be involved. The kids are going, we get to ditch class if we say we want to protest.
Absolutely.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Okay. So in high school, I quickly realized that if you worked in the Student Activities Center, you got out of class. You could get a note to work in the Student Activity Center because that meant you were organizing some school event, right? I was chief volunteer in the Student Activity Center. We called it the SAC. I was in the SAC all the time. Why? Because it got you out of class. You think the kid, I didn't even care what I was volunteering for. Oh, we're going to the hospital to visit sick people. Great. Let's go to the hospital to visit sick people. The amount of work I did probably outweighed the amount of class time I did.
We had TAs, teachers' assistants.
Yes.
You could sign up for them.
Oh,
and that was the move. So I signed up a couple of times to be a TA. One of them was for a math teacher.
Yeah.
I was horrible at math.
Mm-hmm.
But it just so happened she didn't have a period at that time. So we would sit in the library and I would be like, you need any help, with grading or any paperwork or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like, no. So then I'd go down to second lunch because I had first lunch and hang out with my friends that had second lunch.
The two things that I did like that. The first one was we had CPR class. Every year the freshmen get CPR class. So the health teacher, when I'm a senior, puts out a thing. I need volunteers to help teach the CPR class. Boom, my hand goes right up. Why? Because it got me out of whatever class I was in. I didn't even care that I was in the CPR class. I'm just not doing real class.
Exactly.
Yeah, go to CPR class. Go to CPR. Here, you want to know how much my teachers took advantage of this? I think I told this on air one time before. What happened? Ari Hoffman did not like gym class. And back then I was in good shape. And the gym teacher did not like me. We had a terrible relationship, me and this guy. It's senior year. And he goes, Hoffman. And he's one of those gym teachers. Hoffman. Yes, Mr. So-and-so. Come to my office right now. Oh, God, what did I do now? Because I didn't do anything. I knew he just didn't like me. He goes, Hoffman, I saw you drive to school today. Yeah. He goes, you have your driver's license. I go, yeah, I drove to school today, Mr. So-and-so. All right, I'll make you a deal. You don't want to be here, and I don't want you here. So here's what we're going to do. If I give you my car keys every day, can you move my car for alternate side of the street parking in Manhattan? And I'll let you out of gym class. Now, in New York, you have to move your car because the street sweepers come by, right? I go, done, Mr. So-and-so, no problem. So I got an A in gym class for that, but then here's where things get wonky. Miss So-and-so, the science teacher, she talk in very squeaky voice. She talk like this. The molecule wakes up in the morning and wants to bond with somebody. That is how she talks about biology. She comes up to me and she says, and by the way, she's not foreign. This is just how she talks. She's not a foreign person of any kind. I don't want anybody to try canceling me for this segment because I did that. Ari, I hear you have your driver's license. Yes, Miss So-and-so. I tell you what, Mr. So-and-so told me about the deal you make. You don't like science class. You're very bad at chemistry. We make same deal. I give you car keys, you park car. Done, Mrs. So-and-so. Done. No problem.
You were a valet in high school to get out of class.
I was a valet for senior year of high school. I think 4 teachers and 1 administrator had me parking their car and got me out of the class. Yeah, the administrator's the worst one because the administrator caught on to what was going on. And he goes, Ari, you're not supposed to be doing this. I know what's going on. And I go, do you want me to park your car too? And he goes, okay. I completely gave the system my senior year. I had 27 free periods.
Moral of the story.
Yeah.
You weren't interested in doing that for the rest of your life.
No.
You didn't care. These kids that are protesting this have no idea what they're doing. They just know it gets them out of class.
Exactly. Because if they did know what they were doing, who are they sticking up for? Who are they sticking up for? Who are we deporting here? From Bill Malugin over at Fox News, Department of Homeland Security confirms to Fox News that a semi-truck driver was arrested for causing a head-on crash in Indiana that killed 4 people on Tuesday, is a Kyrgyzstani national who entered the U.S. via the Biden administration's CBP-1 cell phone app on December 19, 2023, at the Nogales, Arizona point of entry, and was released into the U.S. via parole by the Biden administration. Police say this 30-year-old was driving on SR-67 in Jay County, Indiana, when he didn't stop for another slowed semi-truck, swerved instead into oncoming traffic, crashed head-on into a van, killing 4 people, several of whom were Amish, according to local media. ICE records show he is now in ICE custody, meaning local law enforcement honored a detainer and already handed him over. A reminder, the Biden-era CBP-1 cell phone app allowed 50,000 to 60,000 otherwise inadmissible aliens to enter the U.S. legally every month for 2 years on humanitarian parole grants. President Trump terminated the program the day he was inaugurated and since turned it into a self-deportation app. More to come as we get it. This is just like the story we broke yesterday on the show where federal authorities identified the semi-truck driver arrested who was allegedly driving under the influence and plowed into a snowplow here in Washington, almost killing the driver. It's amazing the guy survived. You know, it's fascinating to me. The guy's still in jail. Remember the bet we had yesterday? Did he already fly the coop? He is still in the Kittitas County Jail. And I wonder if they honored the ICE detainer. I wonder if they actually did. Now, Kittitas County Jail is supposed to get back to me with the public disclosure request to let me know if they actually honored the detainer or not. We're going to find out that tomorrow. The guy is shockingly still in jail. Shockingly. And I wonder if you messed with the wrong employee. If it hadn't been a state employee, then we would have let you go. But you messed with a state employee. This is fascinating to me. Or I wonder if nobody's bailing him out because they know eventually we're going to start looking at who's bailing these guys out. And we're going to hold them responsible for bailing these guys out when they kill people, when they almost kill people, when they're driving on our roads under the influence. Anybody surprised by this? Now, for those of you who say calling the legislature about this stuff doesn't work, Rockland County in New York is dropping its efforts to declare itself a sanctuary jurisdiction after facing public backlash and concerns from law enforcement. According to the Post-Millennial, on Tuesday night, hundreds gathered at the Rockland County legislature to protest the proposal, which would have prevented local law enforcement from working with federal immigration agents to apprehend those who are in the U.S. illegally. Patriot protesters filled the legislative chambers, forcing many to wait outside. Amid the pressure, legislatures pulled the vote, saying they would revisit it in March and hold another public hearing, which means they're hoping nobody's paying attention in March and that they're done with this. Guys, if you make something so unpopular, they will pull it. And for this session, we even got one bill not referred to committee because we made it so unpopular. I was in Israel when the fraud news was breaking from Nick Shirley, and then I found the link here to Washington, where some of those daycares were donating to Democrat political candidates here in Washington, and then down the rabbit hole we went. Senator Lisa Wellman, Democrat, comes out with her proposal to hide daycare information. We posted that on social media, went viral. Elon Musk, Bill Ackman, and others comment on this thing. Her office was flooded with calls, and the bill didn't make it into committee. Didn't even make it into committee. We can do this, guys. So a reminder, you call the Washington State Legislature. You say no to the income tax if you haven't done it yet. 1-800-562-6000. That's 1-800-562-6000. Say no to the income tax. You don't even need the bill number. If you go online, you can do it through the Washington State Legislative website. You can find it right there. There's links on my social media pages. You can find them over there. We can stop these things, guys. But also, you got to keep getting the word out. Getting the word out, because the Democrats are trying to do everything they possibly can to stop us from talking about all this stuff. They are trying to make sure that you don't have a voice. They are trying to make sure that no media is covering what's going on. When we come back, my friends, we'll tell you about the latest drastic steps the Democrats took to keep me, Brandy Cruz, Jonathan Cho, and others from covering what's going on in the Washington State Legislature. Tell you all about it when we come back. You'll listen to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder to everybody to sign up for Stake of the Union. Because as Rob in Lakewood says, what will the Dems do to embarrass themselves this year? Didn't they wear white last year? I predict they'll try to bash ICE this year. I don't think they're going to wear white. Wasn't that like Trump's last State of the Union? That was a while ago. That wasn't last year. Joe Biden gave State of the Union 2 years ago. Donald Trump gave his State of the Union that the media refused to call State of the Union. They just called it the big speech. Anyway, sign up for Stake of the Union at Daniel's Broiler on February 24th. You get to hang out with me, and we will see what the Democrats do. Tons of texts, by the way, about our last segment. Jeff and Ken says, Master Hoffman, thank you for acknowledging my pronouns. I grew up in a mining town in the 1970s. Our movie day movies were 50s and 60s industrial safety movies. Now I know why it branded my mind and why you don't wear your wedding band at work. Oh, that's funny. Dave here says, I work in a supermajority Hispanic school district. Noah is encouraging the walkouts that I know of. Okay, so is this a whole bunch of white privilege where they're encouraging all these kids to walk out, but the Hispanic community isn't doing it? All right, let's just put that one there. This one here from the 253, yesterday saw Franklin Pierce High School kids out all over 112th and Portland Avenue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Mike in Puyallup says, hey, Ari, I accidentally became a paid protester. Our district staff, administrative security, and local police department spent all day escorting secondary school children to protect them from themselves and others, especially being hit by cars. Can't believe this. They're actually ordering them out into the speeches. That's absolutely crazy. Here from the 425. This afternoon, I drove by a student protest in the North Shore District, corner of 228th and Bothell Everett Highway. 1 hour later, I drove by the same location. Students are gone, but they left notable trash behind. They know how to protest, but not clean up their trash. So they're trained to be full-on leftist communists because that's what they do, too. Just look at downtown Seattle. It's exactly the same thing. Exactly right. I mean, basically here, these kids are being indoctrinated or they just want to get out of class. This one from Dave, House Bill 2611 is dead. I sent an email with my representative's response. Guys, you think you can't do anything at the Washington State Legislature? This 32-hour work week nonsense, officially dead, according to this email I got from Dave. We will check it out during the commercial break to confirm this, but that is huge, huge news. Switching gear. You know why they don't want people like me, Brandy, and Jonathan Cho at the Washington State Capitol? Because then we tell you about bills, then you call the legislature, and then bills get shut down. Or you talk about the Democrats that are supporting it, and they get a whole bunch of flack, and they want to get reelected. Last night I found out, or 2 nights ago, I found out that my friends Brandy Cruz from the Undivided Podcast and Jonathan Cho from the Discovery Institute also got denied press passes. Now, here's the mind-boggling thing to me. Let me give you a little insider baseball for a second. Of the three of us, I have been at this the shortest amount of time. Brandy was at Fox 13. She was over at Cairo for a while. Jonathan Cho was over at Como News. Both of them long before I started doing what I do. I've been in this, let's see, with the Post-Millennial, I started in 2019, and then I got the KVI job in 2021. So 5 years with one, 7 years with the other. Jonathan Cho was doing this long before I showed up. Brandy even longer. Brandy's been covering politics in the state for literally years, probably a decade plus. Jonathan, longer than me. Both of them award-winning journalists. And then there's me, who's an award-winning radio host. But they have these journalism awards. They were part of the mainstream media, and they're denied press passes. Brandy has never done anything at all to be bad behavior. Now, I'm not defending what they did with Jonathan Cho, where he's trying to go places they don't want him and whatever. I think Jonathan Cho is allowed to go wherever he wants in these buildings that are paid for with taxpayer dollars. I understand the Jonathan Cho, and I don't agree with it. I understand it a little bit. Brandy sits there and asks questions. Me, I've never been down there before to ask questions. This was the first time I tried, and they denied me a press pass. Why do you think they're doing this? Why do you think they're doing this? Because they don't want us asking questions. Well, now me, Brandy, Jonathan, we are all suing the Washington State House. This is the House of Representatives. We're apparently all still allowed at the governor's press conferences and at the Senate press conferences, but we're not allowed at the House conferences. Lori Jenkins is so vindictive, she doesn't want us in the room. Why? Because we might ask questions and we might give you information, and then guess what? Things like House Bill 2611 die. We keep telling you what's going on in Olympia. We are out there to tell you what's going on in Olympia. And don't forget, they tried this last year. They tried to ban Brandy. They tried to ban Jonathan, and they tried to ban our friend Carlene Johnson from the center square last year also. They tried to keep the center square out of there as well. I got to tell you guys, what are they trying to do? They're trying to stop us from covering the important issues. That's what they're doing. But nothing's going to stop us, my friends. When we come back, I may not be allowed in the house, but our friend Carly Johnson from the center square is allowed. And she's going to have an update for us on the bad bills out of Olympia. We have that for you next, plus your calls and texts. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Well, my friend, since I'm not allowed to cover what's going on in Olympia, thanks to the Democrats being afraid of me, I made sure that we have the absolute best on the ground for us in the state capitol to cover all the things they don't want you knowing about. Joining us now on the Warrior Injury Law studio line is the one and only Carlene Johnson, investigative reporter for the Center Square. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, Ari. Happy to join you.
Such a pleasure to have you. All right, let's start with this. On Tuesday, you were at a press conference held by Lori Jenkins and Democrat leadership talking about the income tax. And when you asked a very reasonable question, which is, hey, wait a minute, what's to really stop this from going to everybody, even though they claim it's for millionaires? They scoffed at you, they laughed at you, and made fun of their colleague who had actually admitted that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, it was interesting. The language that Representative Joe Fitzgibbon used, I picked up on right away because, I said, hey, wait a minute. Larry Springer's already said on the record, he's a Democrat. He said, don't trust the Democrats on this. They're obviously going to expand this in future years, and eventually everybody in the state of Washington, no matter how much money you make, is going to pay the income tax. And so I asked him that, and his response was, none of us in this majority would ever support an income tax on the low income, or I think that's how I put it. And I was like, well, that wasn't the question. Okay, sure. So is your low income person that makes 50 grand not going to be subjected to it? But if he makes, 55 grand, he is. I mean, and he danced around it, as you heard, Ari. He never really answered the questions. And then they deflect to a discussion about how, we can't put future, lawmakers, we can't make them beholden to their decisions. That's going to be up to the future. So basically I took that, and my takeaway after that was them basically refusing to answer the question, which tells me exactly what their ultimate goal is.
Right, exactly right. Because we all know what they want to do. They've said what they want to do. This is no secret. This is what they want to do. And yet we have people like Jamie Peterson who called it a pie crust promise. So sure, let's just break another one of those. What else is going on in the legislature this week, Arlene?
Oh, man. Well, today I'm covering a hearing in the Senate Ways and Means Committee, Senate Bill 5974. I just stepped out of that to talk to you. It's way down on the list, so they've got other nonsense to deal with before that. But that's the one that Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swink came out swinging against because it would basically let a state board decide who should be sheriff and who shouldn't. And as you know, right now we've got 38 of the 39 counties in the state that have elected sheriffs. Only King County appoints theirs, although Pierce County, apparently, I'm told, on Monday is taking up the idea of potentially changing to have an elected sheriff in Pierce. I'm sorry, to have an appointed sheriff in Pierce County. So we'll be following that. But so this is coming up in Senate Ways and Means. It's a packed hearing room in there. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff, but I have a feeling just from hearing the room noise as I've been sitting in there that there's a lot of people anxious to testify on that one. So that'll be fun. But the real fun part of the day started, Ari, when I got to go to the press conference of State Superintendent Chris Rakedahl this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the income tax, he was laying out, how his office basically should, have some say in where the lion's share of the $3.5 billion or whatever it's going to be they think that the income tax would generate should go. He says there should be some property tax relief, and that his office should get hundreds and hundreds of $1 million every year to expand underfunded K through 12 education, make sure we've got every 4-year-old that we can, start the brainwashing as early as possible. I shouldn't say that. That was too much opinion, wasn't it?
Not on this show. But that's going to get you banned from the Capitol, I think, because now you have an opinion. Yeah,
that could be. And I pressed him on that federal education tax credit that I know you've paid some attention to that. There's the House Joint Memorial from Representative Michael Keaton urging, Governor Ferguson to opt us into that program so that every Washington taxpayer can take a $1,700 tax credit and then direct that into what they want, whether it's a public school, a charter school, a private school, tutoring, special ed services for their kid, whatever. But of course, the WEA is opposed, so OSPI is opposed because they say it's just going to take money away from the public education system, which is a flat out lie. And I called him on it in the press conference, but he kind of just used the same talking points we've heard before.
Yeah, we know that a lot of these schools have a huge enrollment issue, which is leading to a huge financial issue because so many kids have left. They're not getting the money they wanted before, but still from taxpayers. They're spending about $20,000 per student, which is one of the highest in the U.S., and the grades continuously go down and down and down. And rather than closing schools or consolidating resources or getting rid of stupid things they spend money on, like DEI, they're continuing to double down, double down, double down. Now, Carlene, I don't know if you saw this news because you've been in hearings all day in Olympia, but out here in the rest of the world, Boeing just announced that is moving all the engineering for the 787 Dreamliner out of here and over to North Carolina. That's the latest shoe to
Dear
drop.
God, should we be surprised, right?
Exactly.
Should we be surprised? And a story I am anxious to write up. It'll be late in the day or might even not publish until tomorrow, Ari, depending on what time I get out of here. But I had a good conversation with Rachel Smith of Washington Roundtable today over the phone because I found it very interesting when they came out when the income tax bill dropped on Tuesday. They were careful with their press release to say, we're not taking a stance on this yet. And then it came up in the press conference with the governor on Tuesday that they've been working behind the scenes for some time with him to make this thing more palpable and potentially, uphold a legal challenge, constitutional challenge. So I kind of pressed her on that because I said, well, shouldn't you guys be saying this is a non-starter for business in the state? Don't we know what's going to happen? And she was very careful not to take a position on this at this point and said they're going to wait and see what final form the bill takes before they come out strongly one way or the other. I'm not sure what to make of that.
Yeah, well, I kind of am wondering about the governor's meeting with the commissioner of the NBA today. I wonder if we were actually going to get the Seahawks at some point, and then they heard about, obviously, the Seahawks, the Sonics at some point.
Sonics,
and then
yes.
the Sonics. And then they heard, you can see how much I follow both sports. And then, and then what happens is, all of a sudden, they got wind of all these taxes, and what player would want to come here when they're getting taxed more? You would want to go to a no-income tax state or somewhere else if you have a choice of different teams. But also, the ownership group is going to say, why would we establish a team here when there's other places we can go that are more business-friendly? And I actually think Bob Ferguson may be trying to save the deal.
I think the fallout from this thing is just going to be huge. I mean, I'm hearing from Republicans, they do expect this thing is going to get through. Obviously, the whole thing is going to be take it to the state Supreme Court. That could be interesting because of the makeup of the court, but we've got a couple of positions, maybe 3 positions going to be coming up that are going to be open. It's going to take years. You know how these things work. It's going to take years to play out. But first public hearing on the income tax bill, 1:30 tomorrow here in Olympia. So guess where I'll be?
Yeah, and I'm glad you are because so many of us like Brandy Cruz and Jonathan Cho and me are not allowed down there. So really do appreciate you being on the ground for all of us, Carlene, and bringing us the latest results. And just a reminder for everybody, if you want to testify against the bill, you can go to the Washington State Legislature website and say no to the income tax bill. They call it the millionaire's tax. Or you call the legislative hotline. It's 1-800-562-6000. That's 1-800-562-6000. And say no. Carlene Johnson, really appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much.
Happy to do so. Ari, by the way, you just mentioned that signing in pro or con. I heard today that 30,000 people have already signed in con, and it's actually crashing the website.
Yes, many Ari Hoffman Show listeners. We'll keep that going the rest of the day for sure. Carlene Johnson, investigative reporter with the Center Square. Thank you so much for joining us today. We got a whole lot more to discuss as the show continues. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just want to remind everybody to sign up for State of the Union on Tuesday, February 24th. You get to watch a live broadcast of the Ari Hoffman Show. Plus, we're going to watch the State of the Union together. You get my commentary before, you get my commentary after. It's going to be great, and you get food from Daniel's Broiler. So head on over to KVI.com right now. Sign up for Stake of the Union. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from our friend Carrie in Kent. Carrie, how you doing?
Hey, Ari. I am all kinds of shades of irritated. I was going to say something else.
Thank you for cleaning that up for the FCC. Thank you very much.
I'm trying. I was a sailor for 20 years, but I wanted to let you know that I just sent an email to Bernard Dean about your press pass and Brandy's and Jonathan's too. And I would just encourage everyone that's listening to send an email to bernard.dean, D as in dog, at ledge.wa.gov. And to say that not only is this unconstitutional, they're violating your First Amendment speech, not only freedom of speech, but freedom of the press. And what is he so afraid of? He doesn't want to have another point of view? This is ridiculous. And I also said he's putting the state, the taxpayers, in a liable position because if this goes, this is going to court. If this goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to lose.
Yep. Absolutely, they're going to lose.
And they deserve to lose. They deserve to lose because this is a First Amendment, issue. So just everybody, just take a minute, send an email to Bernard Dean at leg.wa.gov and tell them that they need to issue you guys your press passes.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the support. And like I said, Carrie, you know me. I argue with anybody who wants to argue. I have Bennett the Protester on the show almost every day that guy calls in, right? And I do that because we have the arguments. We have the conversations. We have other callers that call the show all the time to argue with me. And the thing for me is that, look, do I really want the stranger in Olympia? Personally, no. But the pros and cons of freedom of speech is everybody gets to be there, and they probably don't want me there. Exactly. But you know what? Here's something that really bothers me, Carrie. Here's something that really, really bothers me. I haven't seen anybody on the left say Ari Hoffman should get a press pass. Haven't seen a single one of them. No, but if it was one of them, I have done posts. I have done posts saying, yeah, you can't go after these guys or that you should give them a thing or whatever the case may be. I have done it for people who have supported the Hamasniks. Okay, and you probably know who I'm talking about, Carrie. And I've done I've done things to make sure they didn't lose their press passes before because I thought it was so important for the First Amendment, even though I hate them with every fiber of my being, Carrie. you know this, right?
I know. And the thing is, I just feel like we're at the point where you just can't reason with communists.
No.
And they call us fascists, but actually what they're doing is fascist.
Actually, I don't know if you saw it, Carrie. Steve Gordon had a great social media post up where they're literally following the lefty playbook. He's actually took screenshots of it, put it up there. They have done everything on the list, or they're about to do some of the things on the list that haven't been done yet. It's crazy.
Yep. Well, anyway, everyone needs to send their email to Bernard Dean at ledge.wa.gov and demand that he issue those press passes. In fact, it's kind of silly that we even need press passes because you have a right to be there.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And in fact, it's the people's house. We all have a right to be there. We all have a right to be there. Carrie, appreciate the support, appreciate the email, appreciate the call. Love you as always. Appreciate you joining us today. You take care now. We got a whole lot more to discuss, but before that, I just want to remind everybody, she's right, bernard.dean at leg.wa.gov. Bernard.dean at leg.wa.gov. Public email address. Email him and say, hey, dude, what's going on with this? But here's something else, is that for me, personally, I'll tell you one quick little story here. A bunch of the stranger reporters were on I-5 shutting down the freeway. They're on I-5 shutting down the freeway. We saw it. They posted videos of it, very proud. They said, we're journalists. It's illegal. Being a journalist doesn't give you license to break the law. But I knew some of the people who were involved, and they were asking me, hey, Ari, you have info on this person, you have info on that person. I was trying to help out with the prosecutions, and I said, guys, if you actually prosecute these guys, they're going to pull the First Amendment, and all the other cases are going to go out the window. All of them. And even though I can't stand the stranger, and even though I cannot stand what those reporters were marching for or covering, because literally it was a whole bunch of people celebrating the death of my co-religionists. Still have the First Amendment. They have the right to write whatever dumb stuff they do. They don't have the right to be on the freeway. But I knew it would get messy like this Don Lemon case. I knew it would be the exact same kind of thing. It'd be messy with that kind of thing. But you know what? The Stranger has every right to cover Olympia. They have every right to cover Olympia. So does KUOW. So does the Seattle Times, which I can't stand the Seattle Times. Seattle Times has come after me personally on multiple occasions, but they have every right to be down there. And when they say, well, the Seattle Times, I say about the Seattle Times, they do endorsements. They do endorsements of candidates. They do endorsements of taxes. The Seattle Times is just as biased as I am, just in a different way. But they're allowed to be down in Olympia. Me, Brandy, Jonathan Cho are not, which is absolutely crazy that Lori Jenkins, the Speaker of the House, is stopping this. You really want to go to court? We all lawyered up. Let's go to court, and let's see who wins this fight, because we got the First Amendment, and it's pretty clear about freedom of the press. When we come back, my friends, more of the insanity with the school walkouts, and are we making a dent in that state income tax? We'll tell you the latest domino that's starting to fall when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, are we actually about to knock down the dominoes on the income tax? There's some promising signs. Tell you all about it. You got to keep up the pressure, though. But before we get to any of that, young Zach is on assignment down in San Francisco for the big game. Zach, as I understand it, they have repainted the end zones with Seahawks colors, at least on one side of that stadium. That must be driving the 49ers fans insane.
Well, the 49ers fans have been driven insane. That's been made aggressively clear to me this week. But I've not made it out to the stadium yet. I don't think I can get in there yet. And also, it's 40 miles away from here. Like I said earlier in the week, it's the Bay Area, and they mean it. I mean, it is spread out. So I've been spending most of my time in San Francisco. I've been staying in San Jose, and I have not ventured out to Santa Clara because... why? Yeah. But I got to interview. I mean, wait a second.
I want to follow up before we talk about your interviews and the famous people you're meeting while you're down there. Hang on a second. So tell me an example of how mad these San Francisco fans are that the Seahawks are everywhere.
I mean, I've talked to a couple 12s that say they've not been greeted with like a lot of friendly faces in the city. I don't think 49ers fan. It would be like, it would be as if WSU, or rather the Oregon Ducks, had to play in a national championship at Husky Field. I wouldn't be pleased either. So I get it. I got you. You heard, you heard Mac Jones yesterday live on the air. He didn't enjoy that impromptu interview broadcast live to the 12s.
I'm glad we sent you, because I'd be walking around going, that guy looks big. I bet he plays the foosball. I'll find him.
I was actually going to bring that up. Let me pull back the curtains on this, because I do not know all these people. So I'm starting to crowdsource. I've got group chats, text message threads with my friends and family, and I've been sending it to a lot. And then I found this guy today that I was like, he looks familiar, and he's getting sworn by a lot of other press. And so I took a picture and sent it to my dad, and this was his response. He's like, "That's Doug Flouty, season 22 of Dancing with the Stars, and pitched for the Savannah Bananas." And I was like, "Dad, that guy's got a Heisman."
Isn't it Flutie?
I said,
Flutie. That's why I kind of had the reaction, Doug Flouty. I like that.
I don't know.
Yes, it's Doug Flouty.
I don't know.
Yes. Okay, so now you can't make fun of me about the foosball anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'll walk back a couple baristas for that. I said, "Dad, no one can knock a celebrity down a few pegs like you can." And to which he just responded, "Everybody poops, son. Everybody."
Sage advice. Sage words from Mr.
So that's been a lot of my text messages back and forth.
Very good.
with everyone at home. But I have interviewed quite a few NFL players I do recognize, and I think we've got a montage of that right now. Hey, I told you all the biggest names in the NFL were down here, and we're about to talk to Chad Ochocinco. Hey, Chad, what's the loudest stadium you've ever had to play in?
It's the Chiefs, easily.
What's the second loudest?
Seahawks, 12th man.
You want to amend that answer?
Huh?
No, just kidding. Thank you so much. Hey, Vaughn, can I get one quick question? What's the loudest stadium you've ever had to play in?
Kyle Field, College Station.
What about NFL? Like second loudest?
Kyle Field, no, joking. Denver.
What about Seattle?
Seattle is loud. They like to say they're the 12th man.
You calling us? We're liars? We're liars?
That's Texas A&M. I mean, that was already taken. But, yeah, Seattle's definitely loud for sure. Appreciate you, guys.
Thanks. Hey, Cam, what's the loudest stadium you've ever played in?
It's hard, bro. I played in a lot of stadiums. Everyone had their own unique. It depends on how important the game is.
Which one's the most disruptive?
Probably the 12.
That's the right answer. Hey, thanks. Hey, Delaney, what's the loudest stadium you've played in?
Seattle Seahawks.
Are they going to pull it off on Sunday?
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. I appreciate it. Can I get you real quick? What's the loudest stadium you've ever had to play in?
Seahawks.
Seahawks?
For sure.
What's like a big memory from Lumen Field, CenturyLink Field, whatever?
So first of all, my name is Ricardo Lockett. I'm the guy that they threw the ball to on the 1 yard line when we lost the Super Bowl. So I have a lot of great memories. I have a lot of bad memories, but the great memories was my first catch against the San Francisco 49ers my rookie year, and my dad's favorite team is the 49ers. But Seattle and Kansas City probably has the two loudest stadiums. Easily.
Ocho Cinco said Kansas City. I asked him to switch that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Von Miller says we're liars.
Well, Von Miller, is he a Super Bowl? Yeah, he's a Super Bowl champion. Chad Johnson is a Super Bowl champion, so you only can talk if you're a Super Bowl champion.
That's what I'm thinking. I didn't want to bring up the 1 yard. I didn't want to bring up the 1 yard line.
Yeah, man, this is. But I am a Super Bowl champion because I have a Super Bowl.
I know, yeah.
I lost one, I won one, and I lost another with the 49ers. But yeah. So what else you have?
Well, I asked the other guys on the team earlier. A lot of them, like Gray Zabel, he doesn't know what's up yet. And I said, who's got the better burger? Niners with In-N-Out or back home with Dick's?
In-N-Out.
Really?
Yeah, In-N-Out for sure.
Man.
I like the bread. It's softer. Yeah.
I'll give you that.
It's like they put butter in it or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of the stuff comes with the fries. People don't like the fries.
And I like thin patties. Sometimes Five Guys and other guys. Sometimes it's too thick.
How many C's on that?
How many seeds?
How many C's on that? You said it's too thick.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't want a big Mundo burger. I want something maybe something thin. Cool.
All right. Well, what's your prediction for the game?
My prediction in Seattle, 45-7.
I like it. Ricardo, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Ricardo's a good sport there, Zach. That was pretty good.
Yeah. At one point, he was like, "What else?" Yeah, we said, "What else you got?" I was like, "You're going to continue to talk to me?" So that was pretty crazy. That was a lot of fun. He was very nice, and I got to, I got to shake his hand with the Super Bowl ring on, so that was pretty cool. I talked to Matt Hasselbeck today. We'll air that tomorrow. His prediction's a little closer than Ricardo Lockett's was, but still has the Seahawks on top. The other thing I wanted to talk about, Ari, what was the biggest story about this year's big game that broke earlier in the year?
The halftime show. The halftime show. The Bad Bunny.
I have been in the same room as the Bad Bunny.
Oh, yes. And was he wearing a dress at the time?
He was wearing, God knows what. There was ears involved.
He's dressed like a bunny?
But that wasn't even, yeah, kind of.
Okay.
It was very bizarre. But beyond that, this was even more bizarre. So they have us in this Apple Music halftime show, press conference, media thing, and there's lights, and it's a huge to-do, big production. I had to get there like an hour and a half early to get a seat. It was big time. And then they bring out the Apple Music DJ guy comes out, and he goes, before we get started, let's start with our ASL performers, or our sign language performers, and then their translators, and it goes on and on and on. And so I thought that we had like an ASL interpreter to sign the performances to the crowd, which in a way we do. But we also have a Spanish sign language translator to sign that to the crowd. But those two performers are deaf. So they have interpreters to hear the music, sign it to them, and then they can relay it into their respective sign language.
Okay. I got to ask a question here. Isn't it just easier to do closed caption at this point? AI is pretty quick. It could just do those words out right away. What do you need all this for? This is crazy.
Oh, you mean like every other television show ever?
Yes, exactly. Is this just woke virtue signaling or something? What is this?
Yes.
This
I was like,
crazy.
give me the push pins and the red thread. I was like, so okay, hold on. So that and then they're in the room. They're like, make some noise for him, and I was like, why?
God, we're terrible. This is the episode that's going to get me through the air.
I'm just the reporter. I'm just telling you what happens.
Oh, crazy stuff.
And they interviewed him, which was. So then they're interviewing the sign language performers, which has to go back and forth, and then some other guy is speaking for him, so we can It was, I mean, to the point that I have forgotten. I don't know what the bunny said. I don't know what's going on with that. I was just still trying to put all the pieces together.
I'm sure the bunny is probably saying something anti-ice would be my guess. That's probably going to be.
No, he didn't. He did it all in English, so he didn't really say much.
Okay. All right. Well, what's on the agenda for tomorrow, Zach?
Tomorrow, I'm getting my badge to go to the game. That's what's top of mind for me. And I got confirmation I'll be in the stadium.
You will be. You're not going to be stadium adjacent.
I will not be stadium adjacent. I don't know what it looks like yet. I'm not in the main press box, but I'm inside the doors.
Excellent.
So that'll be the second time in my life I will have shared a room with the Bad Bunny.
Excellent. Wait, what was the first?
Stag, I'm burying the lead here, Ari. I am burying the lead. I met two of the biggest A-list celebrities today.
Who's that?
I called it the Pop-Tart mascot and the Charmin Bear.
Okay, all right, the Charmin Bear.
I called it a play. I called it a play in 2 acts.
And you couldn't get interviews
before
with
and
them?
after, if
you
you
get
will.
interview with Blitz? You couldn't get interview with those mascots? Are they not cool enough for you, Zach? Is that what it is?
They're cool enough for me. I'm not cool enough for them. They
I see.
Just didn't have the time. They were too busy.
I see. I understand. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Zach. We look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Just before we let you go, one last quick question. Has the energy grown every single day down there in San Francisco, or is it more like it's been at a certain level, it just stays that level?
No, it's definitely growing, and what I'm noticing is a lot of the 12s and a lot of the Patriots fans are starting to get to town. Earlier in the week, it still is a lot of Niners fans, because I think we've talked a little bit about the kind of fan experience, Super Bowl experience thing they got going on down here. That's a ticketed deal, but it's pretty reasonable, and that's what a lot of the folks in the community are coming out to do, and there's a whole bunch of different activations and activities and sort of things to do, which, by the way, they did not have 12 jerseys, so sorry, Ari.
Boo,
you will not be getting your-
but thank you for
I know,
trying.
I know.
All right,
I
little
did
peek behind
try.
the curtain. I asked Zach,
But-
while he's down there for a souvenir, I just wanted a new 12 jersey is what I was looking for. Yeah.
I know. But the tides are turning. The 12s are getting to town. I talked to Captain Seahawk, leader of the 12s today, and they're making it in. So
Awesome.
it's we're turning everything blue down here.
Awesome. Wait, no.
And while I was looking for your
show, yeah. Okay.
Well, like you can turn it any bluer, for goodness sakes.
That's a fair point.
But good news from the one takeaway from the gift shop: the Seahawks merch is almost run out, and the Patriots merch is plentiful.
Oh, that's even better. I like that a lot. Young Zach, live from San Francisco with updates on the big game. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ari.
Yeah, talk to you then. Man, it's awesome having him down there and getting the real fan experience while he's down there. Plus, it's also awesome sending a fan, not just sending some random reporter who's like, I got the sports beat, but I just do sports, right? So pretty awesome. Thank you, young Zach. That was great. Now, I'll tell you something else. The press secretary had a news conference today talking about the anti-ICE protests and talking about what this has all really accomplished. If you ask any of those kids who are out there walking out of Seattle area, Washington schools, you ask any of them what they're doing out there, some of them might say, I wanted the free period. Some of them might say, ICE is evil, ICE is wrong. You go, what did ICE do that's so bad? Oh, they shot the lady, they killed the lady, no jail time, no jail time. But you say, who are they getting rid of out of this country? And the thing is, they don't actually want to talk about that. In fact, they probably don't even have the information to talk about that. Caroline Levitt was actually talking a little bit today, and it's a little bit longer clip, but these are the results of what ICE is doing. This is what she said in the press briefing room today.
President Trump promised to restore law and order to the United States of America, and newly released data proves he is delivering overwhelmingly on this promise. A study from the Council on Criminal Justice shows that the murder rate across America's largest cities plummeted in 2025 to its lowest level since at least 1900. Again, let me repeat, to put this in perspective, this marks the largest single-year drop in murders in recorded history. This dramatic decline is what happens when a president secures the border, fully mobilizes federal law enforcement to arrest violent criminals, and aggressively deports the worst of the worst illegal aliens from our country. The numbers don't lie. Under President Trump in 2025, the FBI increased violent crime arrests by 100% compared to the prior year. The FBI also conducted more than 67,000 arrests from Inauguration Day 2025 to January 20th, 2026, which is 197% more arrests than the same period previously. The FBI also disrupted 1,800 gangs and criminal enterprises, a 210% increase from the year prior. The FBI has arrested 1,700 child predators and more than 300 human traffickers across the country. Since President Trump took office, 6 of the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives have been captured. Right here in our nation's capital, where you all live, so you know it well, whether you choose to report it or not, the president's efforts to make D.C. safe and beautiful have worked. As of last week, D.C. homicides were down 62%, motor vehicle theft down 53%, and 2025 had the fewest violent gun crimes of any year of available data in our nation's capital. For more proof that these tough-on-crime efforts are working, look at the president's Make Memphis Safe Again campaign. As of last week, there have been nearly 5,600 arrests made and aggravated assaults are down 53%. Sexual assaults are down 53%, and robberies are down 70%. Again, that's just in the city of Memphis. 5,600 arrests have taken place because of this president and his Homeland Security Task Force that has surged into Memphis at the request of both the governor and the mayor in that city. A Democrat mayor, I will add. These are the results that can happen when Democrats and Republicans, when the federal government and state and local officials work together. And that's what Trump wants to see to improve public safety across our country.
Now, that's an important point there. When Democrats and Republicans work together to improve public safety. What's happening in Minneapolis, what's happening there is because the Democrats like Tim Walz and Jacob Frey refuse to work with the Trump administration. And when you refuse to turn over the criminals in your jails, then guess what? The Trump administration has to go get them. When you release them into the public, the Trump administration has to go get them. You could just turn them over to ICE. They are already criminals. And instead, what you would rather do is release them into the community. What? Because you hate Donald Trump? Because when Barack Obama was president, you guys had no problem doing this whatsoever. None at all. Why do you think crime's going down? Oh, you think when other countries empty their jails into the U.S., crime's going to go up? Oh, shock, shock. Didn't know that was going to happen. Why is everybody surprised? So now you're getting those criminals off the streets. Now things are turning around. At the same time, in downtown Seattle today, a whole bunch of high school students were dropped off. A whole bunch of high school students walking out of school in the middle of a school day, dropped off in downtown Seattle. There were about 1,000 of them to rally against ICE. Most of them just said, hey, opportunity to walk down the middle of 4th Avenue in the middle of rush hour traffic, and nobody's going to do anything about it. You ask any of those kids about the stats on crime, they don't know anything about it. You ask them the name Trooper Christopher Gadd. You say, do you know who killed him? They probably don't even know who he is. Illegal alien. Do you know about a father of 2 young children who was killed right at the beginning of the year by an illegal alien driving a semi-truck on Route 167? How many other examples are there where you have actual murderers, rapists coming to our country, and yet the Democrats want to keep them here? They still cannot give me a reason why. Still cannot give me a reason why. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And these kids have no idea what they're doing. Even the ones who claim they know what they're doing, they have no clue. They just regurgitate the talking points. You know, there's a whole bunch of school levies up for renewal this year. Vote against every single one. Vote against every single one, because this is what your tax dollars are funding. Thousands of kids in the middle of a school day out in downtown Seattle. And a lot of these schools have walked out already once. I'll give you one day. I'll give you one day. You keep doing it and doing it and doing it. What's the point of even sending these kids to school? I know of at least 2 parents that have yanked their kids out of the schools. There should be a whole lot more. We should be seeing video after video after video. I didn't send my kid to school to become an activist. I sent them to school to learn how to read, write, do math, learn real life skills, not to become activists. I definitely didn't send them to school just to ditch class. The education's bad enough already. Where are all the parents yanking their kids out of schools? I hope it's happening. I hope most of them just don't want the credit for it, which is why we're not hearing about it. But if they have another massive drop in enrollment, this is exactly why. You need to vote against every single one of these school levies. They don't deserve your money because this is how they're spending their school days outside in downtown Seattle. They do not deserve your money. When we come back, my friends, lots more to talk about, including your calls, your texts, plus how I think we might actually be making a big difference on the income tax. We'll tell you what's going on when we come back. But first, Todd Herman's Daily Thoughtcast right now on the Ari Hoffman Show. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just want to remind everybody about the State of the Union. Tuesday, February 24th, you get to see a live broadcast of the Ari Hoffman Show at Daniel's Broiler. Then enjoy a steak dinner and watch the State of the Union with all of us here at KVI. So make sure you sign up right now at KVI.com. That's KVI.com. Sign up because we are selling a lot of tickets, and I don't want you to get closed out. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from Scott in Issaquah. Scott, what's going on?
Hey, Ari. I'm out in the garage working, and I'm just thinking of stuff. Think about my grandpa when I was younger, about 35 years ago. This has been a debate a long time over immigration when the Clintons first got into office, and people forget the original argument about immigration has nothing to do with really the southern border. It just has to do with immigration as a whole from any country. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with we don't have enough jobs for everybody. We don't have enough room for everybody. People are not, they can't speak the language or whatever the reason is. There's all kinds of high crime. Most people are coming here to get out of a country that's overpopulated because it's miserable because of overpopulation. And we're basically, my grandpa said, and if the Democrats have their way, they're going to let in 200 million people just flood into our country, and we're going to have a population out of China. We're getting close now. So I don't know why everyone keeps bringing up this stuff with have some reasonable immigration, but I mean they let in what's the population of Seattle right now? The city of Seattle.
City of Seattle is about 900,000 people.
They let about 750,000 legal ones in last year.
Right. So think about this for a second. The math doesn't work. There's a great video I talk to people about all the time. If you go to YouTube and type in immigration and gumballs, what you're going to find is a college professor who actually does this demonstration of the problem with immigration using gumballs inside these jars. Maybe it's marbles. Either way, you'll find it. You'll know what it is. It's a college professor with a whole bunch of jars filled with gumballs or marbles. I forget which one. You will find that video, and it is exactly what you're saying. But here's something else. Think about this for a second, Scott. If companies weren't taxed as much, if there wasn't as much regulation on housing, then this country would be even more prosperous than it was. And we'd be able to build more houses, and we'd have more jobs, and we'd have more ability to do this kind of stuff, and we could actually take more people. But one of the other side effects of this is because we can't take them because the Democrats keep regulating everything and keep taxing us.
Yeah, and they got voted in. Basically, my grandpa said this 35 years ago, too. They're going to use them for the vote. They're getting the votes out of them.
Right, and here's something else. By the way, this was fascinating. When I was at the Roanoke conference 2 weeks ago, I walked into one of the nearby casinos, and there was a bunch of people hanging out there. I walked to the casinos, and they're talking to these two random guys I've never met before. And they designed machinery for farmers. And they said, do you have any idea how many illegals are out there, how many workers are out there in the fields picking stuff? And I said, well, there's got to be a bunch of them. And they go, no, most of the big industrial ones, they just use our machines. So this whole thing they tell you about we need them to pick our crops, it just ain't true. We have the machines that do it for them. It's just not true. That's why they're complaining so much about the gas prices.
I feel bad for the ones that work over, on the apple orchards and stuff. Some of their families have been here for 30 years, and that was a debate back then on that, about letting them come in here. But they become families here. We're friends, and they own orchards and stuff. But they're not happy. This is hurting them too. This is hurting all the people that are low class, and it's not helping foreign countries get their act together. Our country could have been a much better role model for the world, and actually, instead of promoting socialism and communism, we could have been destroying it. And I don't understand. People wouldn't want to come here. They wouldn't need to come here if you don't give them the free stuff. Like if they didn't have any of this free stuff, guess what? They wouldn't come here.
You mean like the homeless population? Same kind of thing. Same exact thing. Scott, I appreciate your passion, buddy. Thanks for the call. Thanks for being part of the show. Yeah, you too. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. Lee in Edgewood says he knows exactly which video I'm talking about. He says he loves that video. Matt says it's gumballs. Okay, Matt confirms it's gumballs, not marbles. So if you go to YouTube, you just type in immigration gumballs, immigration professor gumballs. You will find this video. It's fascinating. Really, really fascinating. You should check it out. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from George and Kenmore. George, what's going on?
Hey, I only heard it one time, but evidently there's a bunch of countries that are suing the United States because we closed the border. And they can't get rid of their people.
How are they planning on suing the United States? In which court? Our courts? I don't know what standing they have.
Yeah. I mean, they've filed suit with the U.S. government. You got to get permission to sue the government. But there's a bunch of countries that we're trying to sue because they've been locked out of the free
And they want to keep dumping their criminals on us?
call it.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. George, I'm going to have to do some Googling on this. Haven't heard about it yet. Let me do some
find
Googling. I wonder if we solved that with tariffs or with negotiations. I'll check it out. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Lee actually added, he says the video's called Gumball Theory. So if you look that up over on YouTube, you will find this video. It's absolutely fascinating. It's a great video. You have to watch. I don't remember the professor's name. Now I got to go look that up after the show and watch it again. In fact, maybe I'll have some clips for you tomorrow about that. So I told you that I'm seeing something really, really good happening with the response, the negative response to the income tax. Apparently, the website went down today where people were lodging their complaints. It went down for a little while today, which means you guys are doing a great job and you are flooding it. You got to keep doing that. Remember, you call 1-800-562-6000. I don't think anybody's working there right now because it's after 5 o'clock. You leave a message. No, absolutely not on the income tax. We want to melt those phone lines. We want to crash that website. You got to make sure you say no. And then if they actually push this thing through, you know what you got to do if they actually push this thing through? You got to go to their town halls. And you got to say, when they have debates against whoever they're running against, you voted for the income tax. Why do you think so many Supreme Court justices are getting out of there? They're retiring because they don't want to be on the hook for this. They don't want this to stain their reputation. You got to make sure it stains the reputation of every single Democrat who supported it. And if we defeat this thing, if and when we defeat this thing, I should say, you got to make sure you do the same thing. You go to every single town hall for every Democrat that proposed it. And when Bob Ferguson gets out there and goes running for re-election or goes running for higher office, you have to say, this guy hit Washington with an unconstitutional income tax because he didn't want to cut his ridiculous spending on trans surgeries for felons or self-service stations for men that they call art galleries. Because he wants to fund things like that. He hit Washington State with its first ever real income tax. I mean, granted, we have other income taxes. We have property taxes. You name the taxes. I think a lot of people here are tired and just want a kind of a tax revolt at this point. When we come back, my friends, the man who is challenging Scott Wiener for Congress in California is going to be joining us. We'll tell you all about it, hear what he's all about, hear what he represents when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. of Scott Wiener, who's running, who's probably the absolute worst person who could possibly hold that job that I could think of. This is one of the most radical members of the California state legislature. So how do you think he's going to be in Congress? Joining us now on the Warrior Injury Law studio line, the man who hopes to defeat Scott Wheeler, Dan Wheeler, Scott Wiener, sorry. Dan Wheeler, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Ari. It's great to be here.
Such a pleasure. Now, you guys reached out after you saw Scott Wiener's ridiculous comments on Gaza. This is a guy who comes in, comes out, says, yes, you know, I want to be Jewish and I want to be proud of Israel. And then 2 seconds later, when he gets heckled on stage, says, no, and you know what, I'm resigning from the Jewish caucus and there's a genocide going on. I think that tells you everything you need to about this guy who flip-flops to get votes.
Well, I agree with you, unfortunately, Ari. It's a different philosophy of politics that I have, certainly. Holding your finger up to the wind to see which way you think the wind's blowing and voting or acting accordingly. I come from a place of principle-based leadership. I like to call myself a uniter, not a divider. We all have much more common ground than we have actual true disagreement about our end goals. And I want to inspire people to come together, right? We can harness compassion the way compassion should be used instead of being weaponized against each other to divide and conquer.
So why'd you decide to run for office?
Well, I looked at the slate of candidates and top among them was Scott Wiener, and I had grave concerns that any of them were remotely capable of exercising the quality of leadership that Nancy Pelosi did for 40 years in this district. I looked in particular at Scott Wiener, and I know because I come from the Midwest, my family's in the Midwest, that an extremist like him will neither be respected or listened to in Congress. He would exemplify the sort of extremism, the lack of common sense that a lot of people make fun of San Francisco for. I want someone in office that we're not embarrassed about, that we're proud of, and I can be that person. I can reach across the aisle when that's necessary, find common ground, and actually get big things done.
So that's a lot of explanations about why you shouldn't pick your opponent. But tell me why you decided to get in this race. What were the reasons you wanted to run for office?
Well, I've been a lawyer for 25 years, right? I'm coming with no political experience, but I've been very, very effective on behalf of clients, representing their interests and getting them to their goals. I'm not in trial, but I have a perfect track record of getting my clients what they need. I'm really good at representation. I put my client's interest above my own. I think of what they need, what's best for them. That's just been ingrained into me for 25 years, and I'm really, really good at it. And I think that skill set is desperately needed in Congress.
Gotcha. So day one, what are your top three priorities, top three things you want to accomplish while you're in Congress? Granted, let's remember that you have hundreds of other people to work with and an entire other chamber to deal with and a president's desk you have to get things signed by. So where do you start? What are your top priorities?
I'd like to start with immigration, comprehensive immigration reform. The ICE enforcement of immigration law is a huge concern in California. It's a massive concern in San Francisco. And I'd like to harness that concern to take the initiative. Let's fix this problem, which has been, let's face it, a bipartisan failure of leadership. But let's seize the initiative from San Francisco. Let's put our values into it. Let's make this our narrative that the other side responds to. So I want to seize leadership on that early. The time is ripe to seize leadership in healthcare reform. The Affordable Care Act, I think, that was signature legislation by Nancy Pelosi. It was a pure Democratic policy. There were no Republican votes on it. And it has flaws. Like, we can do a lot better than the Affordable Care Act, which its unfortunate main downfall is raising the overall all-in cost of healthcare. We can do a lot better. And there's a lot of Democrat Party support for a strong single payer option, a strong public option. And I think we can maintain a highly competitive multi-payer option, right? But what we're missing is that very strong central single payer option. And that's something most Democrats can get behind.
Is that something you think you're going to have trouble with the Republican side of the aisle on when you talk about something that's single payer? Because we haven't had such great experience with that. I mean, look what's happening with Obamacare right now. That's something that right now you're watching it. It was supposed to be cheaper. It's infinitely more expensive. It's causing a lot of problems right now. You look at countries that do have single payer options. They don't have things like militaries to pay. Well, they do have militaries to pay for, but they usually call the U.S. So it seems like all well good in theory until you need things for, national defense and such.
Well, that's why I refer to this should not be an exclusive public option or an exclusive single payer system, because what that does is it crowds out the opportunity for innovation in the private sector, right? There's a lot of really interesting models out there for high deductible insurance plans that incentivize healthy behavior, healthy living. We can keep those as options. And I think that will appeal to the Republican base, right? Who skewed towards the private sector, understandably. But there's a lot of value in bipartisan legislation, right? I think one of the unfortunate downfalls of the Affordable Care Act is it did not include really any meaningful input from Republicans. And that shows. So we can do a lot better, and I welcome the input and collaboration from people across the aisle.
Dan, if people want to learn more about you, if they want to canvas for you, if they want to donate to you, what's the best way for them to find you?
Thank you for asking. danwheeler.vote.
Real simple.
Quickly and easily sign up.
Real simple. And guys, just a reminder of how dangerous Scott Wiener is. Every bad policy that's come out of California in the last 10 years has had his fingerprints all over it. You have to stop Scott Wiener from getting elected, and that's why we need to support Dan Wheeler. Dan Wheeler, thank you so much for being with us today. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Ari.
We got a whole lot more to discuss as the show continues. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Only good news to wrap up another amazing episode of the Ari Hoffman Show right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. And we don't normally do follow-ups to stories here in the good news segment, but yesterday I asked you guys, because we were discussing this article that Smithsonian put out. Smithsonian put out this interactive website talking about the 250 places you have to see in America for America's 250th birthday. And when I was looking around at the stuff in Washington, all right, Space Needle, fine, okay, Pike Place Market, fine, but it was very few things in Washington, and the collection of places they had was a lot of movie filming locations around the rest of the country. Here, our movie filming location was Twin Peaks. That's all we had. And the Space Needle, Pike Place Market, and like one other thing that I don't even remember what it was. So I asked you guys, what do you think are the places in Washington that you should see for America's 250th birthday? You guys did not disappoint. And I got to say, I don't know if my brain was off yesterday because it was the end of the show. I can't believe I didn't think of these places. So Mr. Dinsdale sent me an email. He says, this seems obvious to me. Why wouldn't Boeing and the Boeing Museum be represented? From modern airline travel to being a key contractor in the Apollo program, that was when Washington was great. Exactly. That's when Washington contributed something. By the way, great points. You got a space shuttle trainer out at the Flight Museum. You have an Air Force One out at the Flight Museum. What a great suggestion. Going to the Boeing factory. I've never really enjoyed the Boeing factory tour, but still, go on out, check it out. I would have put those on the list before some of the other places. Rob in Lakewood, Hanford. The Hanford nuclear, how do we not even think about that? Hanford nuclear reactor for the Manhattan Project helped develop the bomb. We're still cleaning it up today. How could you not go out there and check it out? Don't drink the water. How could you not go check that out? I've never been there. It's definitely on my list. Here's one. Oh, right. It was Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens was on it, but not. And this one from the 360, Mount Rainier National Park is a great American place. How can you not have that on there? What's in every logo from Washington State? The mountain. It's all back there. Oh, careful, careful, careful. I hear that Bob Ferguson has a new tax that anytime you mention the mountain, he's going to tax you. In fact, if you say, hey, the mountain's out today, you get taxed by Bob Ferguson. They're considered.
Ferguson.
Exactly. Here's another one. And this one, immediately I knew what he was talking about. Immediately. Mike said this. They are probably all gone now, but there used to be several warships from World War II. He is talking about the mothball fleet in Bremerton. The mothball fleet is really something to see. So a lot of ships, when they're at the end of their service life, they got sent to Bremerton to be dismantled. A bunch of them are still up there. And until recently, they had a bunch of aircraft carriers. Now, I don't know where the Nimitz is right now. I think it's still in Bremerton. I think they made it its home port because it's going to get dismantled. Go see the Nimitz before they tear that sucker apart. Go see the mothball fleet. This is great, great stuff. So I'll put the offer out again today because you guys did a great job with this yesterday and didn't disappoint. In Washington State, what are the places you have to see if you want to celebrate American history, if you want to celebrate Americana, even movie filming sites, which the only one they had was Twin Peaks. There's been tons of stuff that's been filmed here, as we were discussing yesterday.
Yeah, like No Retreat, No Surrender. Right?
Exactly.
Like I said. With,
the Jean-Claude Van Damme with the French guy.
Yeah.
You know, with him.
Yeah.
Why isn't that stuff in
Why
there?
is that in there?
There. Boom.
I'd like to amend my list, too. Well, it was only one place. I said the bottomless pit that is over in Eastern Washington somewhere. The Winlock, Washington, home of the world's largest egg. Go see the world's largest egg.
Why wouldn't you go see the world's largest egg?
It's on a giant pedestal. Right when you come into town, it's made out of fiberglass.
I was going to say, what'd they do to preserve it?
It's made out of fiberglass.
There you go. So it's like the fish thing.
It's about the size of a bug, a VW bug.
Okay. So what laid that egg? Or is this just, it's a shtick thing?
It's a shtick thing.
I don't think it came out of a chicken.
No, I grew up there when I was a kid. There was a lot of egg farms there, and I think that was kind of their gimmick.
I got you. Come see the world's largest egg, which isn't an egg. It's just a piece of fiberglass.
Well, I mean, it's painted. Like for the 50th, they painted it gold. It's egg-shaped up on a giant pedestal.
I got you. It's the greatest egg you'll ever see. It's a golden egg.
Yes, exactly.
Greatest egg. Yeah. So let me know what you think.
Go
here
down
we
for
go.
Egg Day. It's a hoot. You'll have a great time.
Here we go. Lee has a good suggestion over on the text line, and this goes back to Bremerton also. The filming scenes for Officer and a Gentleman. That's another one right there. Love lifts us up where we belong. Yeah, why not that? Throw that one on there. That's another good one.
I thought Joe Cocker was in the studio. This is just delightful.
Thank you. Yes, the serenading sounds of Ari Hoffman singing. Yes, you sign up for Stake of the Union. You can get that also. Don't forget, sign up for, you get enough drinks from me. You can get karaoke night. Sign up for Stake of the Union over at KVI.com before we sell out. Oh, here we go. Rob in Port Orchard. Now, mind you, I don't think this one rates as high as some of the other ones we've mentioned, but this is a good suggestion. Chief South's grave for the history tie to Seattle. By the way, I'd put that on there before the Pike Place Market. 100% would as part of the whole thing. I still say I'd put the Underground Tour on there before Pike Place Market.
I mean, if we're showing up for dead people, head on up to Cap Hill and see Bruce and Brandon Lee while you're at it.
See them.
They're
Jimi
buried
Hendrix.
there. Jimi Hendrix.
Maybe go see a little Nirvana action. I don't know. You want to go find the Death House? We can go find that in Mount Baker. You can go check that out.
I don't know about that.
That's a little macabre. Actually, in Aberdeen, don't they have in Aberdeen the empty guitar stand under the bridge for Kurt Cobain? I think it's a memorial for Kurt Cobain that's under the bridge in Aberdeen.
Maybe.
The only reason I know this is because every time we drive through Aberdeen, my wife goes, "That's the bridge that has the Kurt Cobain empty guitars." We never stop because it's Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And we just kind of keep going. But yeah, one day I will stop and see the empty guitar thing for Kurt Cobain of the band that I don't like. Yes, I know it's sacrilegious to say I don't like Nirvana here. Here we go. Steve in Port Orchard gave me another good one. Here, everybody in Port Orchard got great suggestions. Long Beach, Washington, the longest drivable beach there is. There's one for you. See, the people in Washington know all you got to do is send out a survey, guys. I don't know how Smithsonian picked these places, but it looks like the KVI audience has way better suggestions. Jeff and Ken says ride a ferry. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Don't ride a ferry. Other cities have ferries, and ours aren't in the best shape right now.
But ours have a really good view. Like if you're going, I've gone to ferries in other countries and stuff, but like this is a pretty cool view. I know that ferries aren't, they're pretty old.
Yeah.
But if you're out standing outside and looking at all the islands,
it's beautiful.
You might see some
It's
whales.
beautiful.
You might see some whales or something.
Sure. Yeah. No, I love the ferries. Don't get me wrong. Deception Pass Bridge, that's from the 360. This one from the 12th Man for Life says, Nimitz is still out serving our nation past her lifespan, but keep on battling. I thought they just came back. I'll have to double check that. I'm sure 12th Man is probably right. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow with more insane stories, more exciting guests. You've been listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.